Hello and welcome to the Nürburgring 2.4 hours here on RaceRoom. We're expecting a multi-class race with GTR 3 cars, GTR 4 cars and also the Audi TT RS. 2.4 hours of racing action coming up here on RaceRoom on the legendary Nürburgring Nordschleife. My name is Wiesenmüller and I'm joined today by a new guy here in the commentary booth, by David Carter.
Hello Rob, hello everybody and welcome, and I hope you're all hopefully going to enjoy the race that we're going to have this evening wherever you're watching around the world. Of course we're going to have this race here at RaceRoom, who hold a huge magnitude of cars, single-seater cars, touring cars, historic cars, classic cars and modern ones as well, and obviously you can download the game for you to try it as well. We've got about 32 or so cars taking part this evening around obviously the Nordschleife here, and as Robert said, a whole magnitude of cars to choose from as well. So, and I believe qualifying will be starting in a few moments' time.
Yes, and we are racing here on the 24-hour layout, not for 24 hours, just 2.4 hours, because there's no driver swap. Each driver will drive his car for the entirety of the race, but we will race the version of the Nordschleife with a bit of the Grand Prix circuit, leaving out the Mercedes arena. Of course, and yeah, what a track it is. So beautiful, so scary though, even if it's just a simulation and not a real car. You can see the jump there from Diego Lizarzo. Yeah, we've got a lot of action coming up here. Also a lot of interesting strategy decisions coming up, especially in the GT3 cars. Are you going to do a one-stop? Are you going to do a two-stop here? No one really knows yet. Depends maybe on the cars. And yeah, we will see what the drivers will choose in the end. Maybe we can take a little look here at the standings in the practice session. See how it plays out at the moment. And the car we're watching, Diego Lizarzo, the Spaniard, he's currently fastest in the practice session in his Mercedes AMG GT3.
Yes, and you'll see obviously on the leaderboard on the left hand side, you'll see the GT3 cars be listed as blue names. You'll see the Audis as the red names and the GT4 cars as the yellow names there as well, so you get to see all different classes as well. Obviously you get the driver info on the screen as well to see which driver we're watching for there, as we see Rick Haser there, currently P10 in his class there in the Audi setting. Here's currently provisional in practice, he's top of the standings at the moment, and we see a lot of different nationalities taking part as well across the whole of the world as well. Some names you'd know, we may recognise, some names you may not know so well, but we have 3 servers up tonight. Obviously we're watching the top server this evening as well. Hopefully we'll see some great action across all 3 categories.
Yes, 29 cars on the server at the moment. We have 36 who are scheduled to race here, expecting around 33, 34 maybe, once we go into the qualifying session. And yeah, Rick Haser, he's leading in the Audi category. All equal cars, all front-wheel driven cars here with the TTRS, pretty fast. They're actually faster than the GT4 cars. Patrick Barth is leading, he's currently sitting in the pit lane, so we'll go to the 3rd place guy here, Mark Heinemann, in the Porsche Cayman. So yeah, not only one race, but pretty much 3 races in one that we can watch here.
So hot track temperatures here this afternoon, 30 degrees track temperature as well, so tyres will certainly get tested here for 2.4 hours as well. Obviously a lot of different types of corner we'll see here around the Nordschleife, the ultimate test for any driver here as well. We'll see a lot of people here obviously very experienced around this circuit. They put plenty of laps in, hundreds of laps in the past on RaceRoom and in other sims as well. As we see Ortner there as well, he's currently in the BMW, and of course I'll tell you one thing, Rob, the particularly GT3 class probably more interesting, because you've got all those different types of cars taking part, all got different characteristics, and different parts of the track will suit different cars.
Yes, especially in the GT3 category, we've got a wide variety of cars, I would say. And, you know, some people, they have their favorites. Some people also think the BOP is not perfect. I would agree on that, it's not perfect. But we definitely see some different choices here between the drivers. It's not a one-make trophy for sure. Just watching Georg Ortner, one of the most experienced drivers here, he's in the BMW. And we've seen Lizarzo in the Mercedes sitting in 1st place, but he's been beaten, and by quite a gap actually, by Vinny Oliveira in the Nissan. And Vinny Oliveira, he was the fastest driver in the pre-qualifying session.
I believe he did an 8:07 in the pre-qualifying to get himself top of the standings here today. He's in that very, very powerful Nissan, of course, with the turbocharged Nissan GT3 cars. So particularly down the stretch, you'll see him putting down that horsepower and driving up the road somewhat. Looking really, really good here. Today is Vini Oliveira here, the Brazilian. Just going around the Grand Prix layout of the circuit. So you'll see a wide spread of lap times between the GT3 cars and GT4 cars. You're seeing a spread of about a minute or so. So I'll say you'll see plenty of action, plenty of overtaking, particularly cars being lapped and so forth. So say it's going to be interesting. We now see someone who I know very well from the past, Oscar Hardwick. A pleasure to see him in a live stream here once again, and looking very, very strong. He was actually the pace setter in the GT4 class. Here he is choosing the Lotus, just going on track for the first time.
Yes, fastest driver in pre-qualifying by almost 2 seconds. So he's going to do this event as the favorite for sure in the GT4 class. He's taken the Lotus, which is kind of a surprise. Sort of the car in the middle when it comes to top speed versus the performance in corners. The Porsche definitely a bit faster on the straights. And the KTM, this beautiful car here. I mean, people have different opinions about this car. Also in the race, in the hands of Mirko Plachter, was second in pre-qualifying. That car will lose out a lot on the Döttinger Höhe, but it's very fast in the twisty bits.
Yeah, it's interesting. The philosophy is also got the Porsche Cayman there in that class as well. So you've got 3 different cars being chosen today. As you just see, Steph Kremers there pitting in. He's actually, as you can see there by his title, he's actually looking for a team at the moment in RaceRoom. So if any teams are out there looking for talent, I've seen him a couple of times in testing. He looks really, really strong, or definitely a talent in the future. He's been to a couple of RaceRoom events actually, Rob, which you've been in attendance for, of course, being a very, very important RaceRoom member of staff, and he's definitely got one for a bright future ahead of him, I think.
Yeah, he's pretty young, so we've, I think he's just around 14 or so at the moment, so definitely has a future ahead of him, showing great pace, great potential as well. And it shows by qualifying here for the first server. As we mentioned, we've got 3 servers, 3 really packed servers, all with over 30 cars running at the same time here. So it's quite an achievement to even get here into the top server, as the practice session is slowly but surely coming to an end.
Just under about 30 seconds now until we get into qualifying, which will be a 20-minute qualifying session. So for some cars, they'll get a couple of laps in. Some cars might just squeeze a second lap in potentially. It's important to get, particularly that first lap, get that good benchmark lap time in, and not have to have that pressure on you for the second lap. That's one thing that we'll find out, of course. We're now looking at Graham Belland here in his Mercedes, just going off the Grand Prix layout and onto the Nordschleife 4. First time here this evening. I say, interesting here, particularly for people like myself. I don't know a lot of these drivers, in all honesty. Rob knows a lot of these drivers really well. Interesting in the performances here tonight, and for a lot of these drivers, you know, first time in a RaceRoom official event as well. And I believe only one driver, we discussed this Rob beforehand, only one driver in this top server has actually won a race, official race in RaceRoom. That's Ben Spanky, and I don't see him.
Yeah, he's not on the server yet. So not sure if he will even compete here in the race. He was qualified and he did sign up. And he is of course the reigning esports WTCR champion. He would enter this race as one of the favorites for sure. Won plenty of races on RaceRoom before. But yeah, he's not here, so that means a lot of drivers who've won races in communities, who've won on public servers, won maybe some leaderboard competitions. They are all here as we go into the 20 minutes of qualifying. And it looks like at the moment we will see 3 new winners in official RaceRoom races. See the car streaming out of the pit lane there. Darius Vilgosz here just found the gap behind Vini Oliveira and in front of one of the Falcon BMWs. That could be Ortner or Mesofi. Lisaso and Oliveira already side by side. On the outlap, you don't have to do the full outlap here. You can take the shortcut at the end of the Grand Prix circuit and just go right through the tire barriers. You won't have quite a good run onto the start-finish straight, but I think it's definitely worth it to do it, because otherwise you will wear your tires a bit too much if you do a full outlap. And also it will take a long time, so at least when you're in the GT3, you could slot in 2 timed laps if you take the shortcut now. But there you can already see it's multi-class racing. There's an Audi in front of these two, the 2 fastest drivers probably in the GT3 category. So, yeah, you have to navigate traffic as well in these races.
Of course, it's important as well for these GT3 cars to get past these slower classes out the way now, before the lap starts, otherwise be held up halfway through the lap on a time lap, and even you lose a couple of seconds here, being stuck behind another car, you know, could lose a couple of places on the grid. So it's important now for people like Vinny and the rest of the GT3 class, and even the Audis actually as well, to get past these lower runners and make sure they get a clear run on this outlap here. As we see now, Vinny taking the fastest chicane on this particular layout, and we expect to see some cars now turn right instead of turn left. Here we go. That's ambitious move there, isn't there, Rob?
Yeah, but he's very close to Attila Dina here, and I think Oliveira is quite a few seconds faster than Dina over the laps. I'm not sure if he really timed that right. A bit of lag there for Dina. One car is out in front ahead of them. It could be Violent. I'm not entirely sure if it is. Yes, it is Jerome Violent, so he's the first car on the track. And maybe we can go on board with him to watch the lap. Already through the first chicane. Very tight chicane on this layout. As I mentioned before, we drive the 24-hour race layout here, and they can't use the Mercedes Arena because that's an extra paddock, because there's so many cars in the real life.
Just down a hill here towards the hair pinnacles on the Grand Prix layout as well, so for everyone watching it at home, very, very familiar this will be to you if you've watched Formula 1 and DTM and all other class racing in the past. You see 71 viewers in the YouTube chat at the moment, so a big welcome to you guys. Hope you're all enjoying it so far. A lot of racing here happening ahead. See Bella now moving towards here the chicane here, so break down there, third gear, hug that curve on left hand side and get to as far over to the left as possible here for this right hander here as well. And quite an important one there, Rob, because it leads you onto this straight, of course, and then before the Nordschleife.
That's the Mach corner on the Grand Prix circuit. That one is flat out. Now the NGK chicane, very difficult corner. Just take this camera here, always spectacular, and you can see the curves here, how high they are. These plates called Ludwig plates after the great Klaus Ludwig, the German touring car driver. Now onto the Nordschleife, and I think there are two cars who are not taking the shortcut, who will now end up in front of Jerome Weiland on this lap. That could be a bit frustrating for him. Now down here in the Hudson-Bach section on the Nordschleife, this corner super quick. Oh, bit of curb there. I think he could have taken it flat if he didn't hit the curb. This one's very hard braking zone, especially in front-wheel drive, because you have to brake while you're turning. Accelerating out here. Just see how much curb he's taking. Very aggressive, but also still a pretty decent lap so far from Jerome Weiland.
Yeah, he's been very, very committed, and that's what you got to be around Nordschleife. You got to take your bravery pills before getting the lap round here. Of course, you know it's because if you're a little bit cautious, a little bit nervous for saying one particular corner and a particular section of track, you could lose quite a few seconds. So I just see a couple of cars ahead of him, as you say, Rob, taking the proper layout before they start to lap. But say for Jerome here, could depends on what part of track he catches them up on. Particularly could be quite frustrating here for Jerome here.
Oh, flat out into Schwebenkreuz. That was brave, but he had a very good line. Bit wide and Armberg, but lines himself up nicely for the exit here. It comes down to the Fuchsröhre. By now 33 cars on the server. Both of the Pache drivers have arrived, so fastest driver from the Audi TT pre-qualifying also around here. Now you need commitment here into Adenauer Forst. Out on the brakes. I think one of the cars there is Ognowski, and is in front of him. Austin Ognowski, new to RaceRoom competitions, but certainly not new to sim racing. Also races in real life. Let's see if Weiland can even catch up to him.
Yeah, say for a lot of experienced sim racers here, but maybe from different communities as well. Very, very close there, wasn't it? This is just an outlap, of course, I believe, as well. So
no, it's actually timed, so they must have taken the shortcut as well, just started a bit earlier, so we missed them. That's Nicolas Hillebrand, who is leading at the moment in this qualifying session, but Austin Ognowski is definitely quicker than Hillebrand, and Hillebrand goes off there in the braking zone, just about gets it together, and Ognowski still can't get past him.
Of course, this car, so you got the Porsche there and the Mercedes. I expect the Mercedes to be pretty good when we get to maybe a faster section, of course, because we said the Porsche does naturally understeer a lot being rear engine in these faster corners as well. But particularly in the slower corners, it's going to be very, very difficult for Mercedes to actually get alongside and past him.
Yeah, also on the brakes, the Porsche should be able to brake a little bit later than the Mercedes. We'll see if there's any way through. I think overall the Mercedes is certainly the faster choice for this track here. And Ognoski is looking quicker than Hillebrand at the moment, but I think he just timed it wrong on the outlap. And he just caught up too quickly to his German rival here in the qualifying session. And yeah, he can pretty much forget about this lap unless he gets past him here before Moodkurve. And there you can see the power of the Mercedes. Goes up alongside Hillebrand. Oh, they're almost racing here in the qualifying session, and Hillebrand just stays in front of him.
Yeah, for Ognoski, he's going to be very careful to pass, because obviously a little bit of contact for a section like this, and he could very much end up in the barrier and ruin that altogether, and then another trip to the pit. So bad timing, you know. He's got the pace to get by Hillebrand. Obviously, Hillebrand was the last person to qualify in the 16 cars here, but still obviously impressive to get here. But a bit of a time difference between these two drivers. But for Ognoski, you know, maybe a small benefit is, in a way, you know, he's actually going to practice, you know, racing round here as well, follow another car, because this might be his first online race here potentially on RaceRoom. Certainly competitively, but he's probably not done too much RaceRoom in the past, Rob, potentially, you know, particularly serious stuff like this.
He was very fast in pre-qualifying. He was second behind Oliveira. So I think what will be more important for him, though, is that he gets a good time in the qualifying session, so that he's not stuck behind someone again during the race in the opening laps. So I think he's someone who could potentially drive onto the front row. It's just not looking so likely when he's in the position in which he is right now.
And for Hillebrand, it's going to be beating with sweating as well, because not only is he trying to focus on the apex as well for every corner ahead of him, he's going to have to worry about where Ognoski is as well behind him. You know, is he going to try and make a move in these next few corners? Because probably a bit more frustrating for Austin at the moment, being stuck behind him qualifying in a race situation, because every second counts in this situation.
Yeah, but what I don't understand about it is that, I mean, this lap, he won't really drive to his potential anyway. So he could just press escape and start a new lap, and he has no one around him. That will probably work out a bit better, because he's only really get one shot anyway, and that's on the second attempt.
Come through now the sort of sector 3 here of the section, just coming up towards the mini carousel, looking back from Hillebrand's car here, the German. Just through there now, and just about to enter, of course, the long straight after this corner, and now it's going to be a very interesting comparison to see the difference between power of the Porsche and...
Oh, mistake from Hillebrand.
Hillebrand's just ruined it, so Ognoski finally gets past Hillebrand there, as Hillebrand's completely off the circuit, and now you've got to watch out for the... I think that's Oliveira there passing in the Nissan. So Hillebrand now it's pressure time, because he's only got one more chance now for Hillebrand. He's held up Ognoski a treat there. Down here now, Ognoski's probably very relieved now. He's going to have a clear run for the second lap here. Fingers crossed for him at least anyway. As he comes down the straight here for the first time this evening.
Yes, I would expect Oliveira to be aiming for the potential provisional pole position here on this lap. Let's see what Ognoski can do in the second attempt. Navigates the Hohenrhein chicane nicely. Early on the throttle, not even using all of the track here. I think he's just lining himself up for the second lap. That's 8:17. Let's see with Oliveira. There you go, 8:12. Decent lap, but he was under 8:10 in pre-qualifying. I think it was 8:7 even. That's not the, you know, it's more of a cautious lap here. And Lizard, so I just wanted to jump to him. He slots into second place.
And 6/10 behind as well, so really competitive stuff here as well. So you've got the first 5 cars all now there in P3 on 8:15.2 as he crosses literally 1/10 ahead of Ron Violin there as well. He's going to see some of the over the rest of the GT3 cars coming across the line for the first time. Jonas Radial there as well, an 8:17.2 from him. That provisional pole position here from Vinny Oliveira looking really good here for at least a front row start.
And Ben Spunky meanwhile has arrived. also in the Mercedes here, just starting his lap. He will only get this one lap. Let's see where Patrick Pache is in the Alpina B6. Very unusual car here in the race. You don't really see that too often, but from what we understand, it's pretty quick around here, pretty quick on the straights. Let's see what Patrick Pache can do. He's not the only Pache in the race. Thomas Pache also in the Audis. He was by far the quickest driver in the Audis in the pre-qualifying session, as we have got the first time since from the Audis actually, and Jan Courtois, the SDL Esports driver, in the provisional pole position. Almost 3 seconds faster than Kretschmer, and Hayes slots in to 3rd place.
Yeah, so here comes the Stan Libby there as well in P2 ahead of his, well, at least the livery and nationality compatriot Daniel Kretschmer there as well, an 8:56.3 there as well. Domenico Lababa looks like he struggled on the first lap at 9:32 there from him. And so we're going to see some interesting, it looks like Hillerbrand's actually pitted from P8. He's not on the circuit from what I can see at the moment, so it looks like for Hillerbrand at least, that's his qualifying done with. Stefan Koschebek in the Corvette there, P7, 8:22.9, but about 10 seconds behind the original pole time. And I think we're just about to see some GT4 cars coming through the start-finish line. Patrick Bart there, currently pole position, 909.9 there.
Yes, and Mirko Plachter, he already abandoned his lap there, so he's now in the pits. He won't be able to set another lap time for sure. Shame for him. Let's see where Oscar Hardwick is. He's just on the Grand Prix circuit, so... Oof. Is he really gonna complete a lap time? I don't think he is, because he's not around far enough of the circuit here to set the lap time for the timer hits 0. Of course, on RaceRoom you can't set a lap time after the timer has hit 0.
I think he's pretty much, well, yeah, he's not going to get round in just under 6 minutes, is he? So, or 7 minutes now, so he ain't going to get round there in time, unfortunately. I can't see it anyway at the moment. A few more lap times hopefully going to come in a few moments' time. It looks like here we are, Mark Heinemann coming across the line. And he goes up, jumps outside of P15, second in class there.
And a massive lead from Patrick Bart. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's almost 9 seconds. So crazy lead for the Austrian. Let's see what Steph Dremers can do, the young Dutchman here, also in the final sector, also coming up to Hohenrhein chicane. Because the sector times they are showing in comparison to Oliveira. We'll just see when he crosses the line how close to Patrick Bart he may get.
Of course, he's probably had a good sector 3 because the straight line speed of the Cayman is really going to benefit him down here, but here he comes across the line. So he's going to put him, obviously, only one timed effort, of course. And that will put him second in class. A couple of seconds ahead of Heinemann, but still at 7 seconds between himself and Barth, as Dirk Retschel has put himself into P2 in class as well, again in the Porsche there as well.
It's good to see his performance here. Let's maybe go on board with Vinny Oliveira, because he's purple in the first sector, 1.2 seconds. He's closing in on Jerome Weiland here. That's another change. I think it was Peter Jünger who was second now. Went up to second in the Audi category. Yeah, Vinny Oliveira, perfect first sector, but he might get a little bit held up here by Jerome Weiland. He's still purple in the second sector. Let's check with Ognovsky. What are his sector times saying? Also purple, and that's even better than Oliveira. I think Ognovsky is on his way to pole position here. Clear track ahead of him. No slipstream, of course, but also no one holding him up.
We're feeling much better about this lap already, of course. Not only being provisional pole, but no one ahead.
Oh, look at Lizaso! Even quicker.
Okay, this very, very big scrap here. That looks like at least 3 cars here scrapping out of this pole position. I think furthest up the road would be Ognovsky, I believe. I think he's the furthest one.
Yeah, I think it should be Ognovsky. Okay, you can see in the background. You can see Weiland and Oliveira.
Just see a car jump up there as well. I think Namchek has put his car up to P5 there as well, an 8:17.1, so about 5 seconds off the pole. A couple of other cars across the line as well. Let's say it's a real mix-up, because obviously at the back of the field, a few cars not going to qualify. You're going to have a couple of GT3 cars at the back of the field. they're going to struggle to get past these Audis and the GT4s and the opening couple laps as well. But we'll save that until we get to the race, of course. Noski now just going round the back part of the circuit now in the Mercedes.
Yeah, just checking once more with Ben's Bunky where he is, because he's also purple. And of course for him, actually a lot of drivers are purple. Ortner and Weiland are also both purple. Oh, Bunky! Oh. Bunky's around! Oh, and that's his only qualifying lap. So he will start at the back of the GT3 field.
Yeah, I'd say he's got to keep going. He's got to keep going because there's still a chance he might get ahead of Hillebrand.
Oh, he's quitting.
He's escaped.
And that's a huge mistake. That's a huge mistake because now he will start behind all other cars.
Yep. Not good at all. He should at least finish the lap, because even that spin, he had a chance of actually getting maybe even into top 10 there as well. So that's unfortunate. But Ognoski's going to be the first man. I believe he will set a second lap here and looking very good to take the provisional pole. To say first two sectors are purple. He goes now through mini carousel there once again. Now just going to straight across the path. Mercedes, pretty handy around here, Rob. You know, and you know, he could be a good shot here because it's a very, very well balanced car as well. A very good chance here to get the provisional pole.
I think we'll lose a little bit on the straight compared to Oliveira, but I don't think Oliveira really could show his full potential over this lap, because he was behind Weiland. Let's just see if once more to Oliveira here. He will be closing in on the Mercedes, because that Nissan is a rocket on the straight.
Got slipstream as well with the Mercedes ahead of it. I tell you what, if you're watching this and you're in any of the chats, just put your predictions in now before qualifying's over. Who do you think is going to get this pole position? I think Olivier is looking really, really strong. But Noski is going to be the first man here to set a lap time. Is he going to weave now to the braking zone here for the last chicane, which will make or break your lap? Breaks many
Careful!
lap.
I would have expected him to go over the curb, and let's see what the time says. 8:11.5, good time. Let's see Oliveira. Oh, he jumps him! Just 2/10.
By a tenth of a second there, look at that. That's outstanding stuff. Diego Lasilo there, I think as well. He's going to be P3 and 8:13.8 for him as well. Not bad at all. I think they're the main three guys. Obviously we've got Ortner, I think he's on lap as well.
Comes closer to Weiland, but stays in P5. Patrick Pacher, meanwhile, abandoned his lap as well. So the Alpina driver also at the back of the field. See what Thomas Pacher can do. I don't think he will be able to finish his lap because there's only 1 minute left. So the fastest driver in the Audis in the pre-qualifying will also start at the back. So that pretty much secures the pole for Courtois ahead of Cifra and Jünger. Maybe Daniel Kretschmer can do something about it. He's still on a lap.
Touch and go here for Kretschmer, isn't it? You know, he's 40 seconds. I say he might just about do it.
This could be close. We'll just check in front of him. Riquese should be a little bit... Oh no, he's actually further behind. He won't be able to finish his lap at all. Are we gonna finish his lap? No, not quite. Let's see, the qualifying is still running for about 25 seconds, but here you can already see the results. So Oliveira on pole for sure in the GT3s, ahead of Ognoski and Lisaso. Weiland, Ortner and Nemček in the fastest Corvette, just ahead of Kosselbeck in P6. Then P8, Jonas Riedel, Valentin Barrière, P9, P10, Attila Dina and Nicolas Hillebrand. Then the Audis, Courtois on the provisional pole position. Let's see if Kretschmer gets his time in. Cifra second, Jünger in third, then Stan Libby. Kretschmer jumps into second place, there we go. So Kretschmer actually on the front row. Hase and Hummel, and then Patrick Barth even beat one of the Audis in pre-qualifying. Oh, there goes Hugiax also slotting in. Barth definitely the fastest driver in the GT4 category, unless they still count the time from Oscar Hardwick. That's the car behind the standings here. Let's see if he slots in somewhere. Oh, there he goes! They still counted this time. P1.
Yeah, that by a couple of seconds there as well, nearly 3 seconds ahead. So Hardwick showing his class there as well, and jumps a couple of the Audis. So he jumped about, jumped a couple of the Audis there as well. So stunning stuff there from Hardwick. So there are pole position in GT3, Vinny Oliveira there in the Nissan.
And Riquese. Recase jumped Courtois as well. So the game, just for a change this time, deciding to count all of the laps after the timer has run out. That means Recase on pole position, and I'm not sure if all of these drivers were really expecting it to happen, because it doesn't usually happen on RaceRoom, of course. Usually when the timer hits 0, that's all the laps that count, but here this time, game deciding to keep it open a little bit longer. And yeah, we've got Oscar Hardwick and Recase now as surprise pole sitters.
There we are. So yeah, that is an interesting qualifying session as well. Now when we get to the race, of course, you're going to have people like Mazzofi, Banky, Wilgosh, Parker there as well. They're going to be coming through the field at a rate of knots, you know, and they're going to be trying to catch up to the back of GT3 class there as well. And you got a couple of Audis back there as well. So the particularly start of the race here, Rob, not just because, you know, the usual start, but it can be a bit mixed up. Those particular GT3s coming through, they're going to want to get through those cars as quickly as possible when there could be a bit of action here in the first couple of laps.
Couple of cars still rolling around, not sure what's going on with the server. What we're waiting on before we get into the race here. Mark Heinemann coming to a stop on the back straight.
I think he's well and truly had enough, as Kretschmer's there going to just enter the pits as well. And it looks like that is pretty much it as he enters the pit lane now and just parking the car and P3 in class. He'd be quite happy with that effort there. He's only a couple of seconds off the pole. But here we go. We're going to go into the looks like into a little bit of a warm-up session here, Rob.
Oh, just 50 seconds and then we go into the race. Standing start coming up, no formation lap. Going to be a lot of action coming up. We're watching the car, the Grello Porsche, the Manthey Porsche that Darius Wilgosh is taking in this race. We're waiting for the cars to line up on the grid here.
Yeah, of course, no warm-up lap, of course. You know, it's going straight into it. So, particularly first couple of corners really tight here, Rob. And I've seen in races in the past, it could be a little bit chaotic. So we could expect some action here. Start, of course, 2.4 hours coming up, or 144 minutes, if that's how you prefer it. So this is going to be one tasty race indeed. We just see the Nissan lineup a pole of the Brazilian Vini Oliveira. I see a very, very colourful grid here indeed, as looks like the race is just about to get started. Lights are up, ready for a start. 2.4 hours coming up, guys, and away they go. And it looks like a cracking start there for the Mercedes on the second row. Really charging through there. Oliveira is defending the line into turn 1, and we got the other Mercedes there of the Spaniard there as well. He's trying to go around the outside into the first corner, but Oliveira defends the line well there.
And Ognoski had a horrible start. Oh, Oliveira gets tapped by Lizaso and he's around. Now he has to wait for the whole field to get through. Come on, guys, you've got 144 minutes coming up. And already in the first corner, there's the first drama, and Oliveira has a lot of work to do. But Ognoski as well, he's down to P9. Just in a battle with Nemchek here.
Nemchek there, I'm not sure there's contact. I think she's lost under power from my screen, but I said there's potentially contact there. But Venom leads this race, and Ryder and Lasasso there as well. Coming through the pack, you got the GT3 cars coming through as well. But Oliveira is going to be the man coming through the field here as well to go through the SS here for the first time. As we got the Corvette on the grass, they're entering.
And lots of crazy lines taken here, and we've got a triple lead for the Mercedes. And a surprise lead at that. Weiland leading ahead of Riedel and Lizaso, but Hillebrand, after his difficult qualifying session, up into P4.
That rear engine Porsche does get some fantastic starts off the line, and that could be a big thing there, right? You got the up into P4. You start 10th for 11th, I think, as well. Looking at the standings, there's no change in the Audi class or the GT4 class. We're on the leader. It's still Pacer there leading, and Hardwick leading in the GT4s as Raider there looking nosy down the inside there. So we enter Nordschleife here, Rob, for the first time.
Yes, Georg Ortner as well in a close fight with Nicolas Hillebrand, and we just have to jump once into the lower categories here in the race. The case is still leading in the Audi class ahead of Courtois and Kretschmer. And then where's the first GT4 as Oscar Hardwick, and he's about to get passed by the recovering Vini Oliveira.
nicely there, doesn't he? Nice clean move. That's all he needed. Got the Audi coming up as well behind him. I said the right old mixture here. Looks like Castellanos there in the Audi there. But to say the front wheel drive will definitely have the power down straight to get past. But through these fiddly bits here, Rob, it's going to be a bit difficult. He's looking for a nose there actually.
Oh, and Riedel made a mistake. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Riedel made a mistake. He's just fighting with Bunky now. Both of the yellow cars got back from second place. Behind Hillebrand and Ortner, and also Lizaso, of course.
Yeah, very tasty up here, isn't it? You know, you've got 3 cars and 2 yellow Mercedes side by side here as well. And flat out through there pretty much. I don't think they're going to do that side by side and a side by side, but looking back now here from the BMW of Ortner's car, there is the 2 Mercedes. All side by side. Finally, they sort each other out, but it's going to be very, very tasty first up. And just looking back, it looks like Oliveira's back into 18th already, a few seconds off the back. Only a few cars now between him and the back of the GT3 cars.
And that really turned the whole qualifying on its head already. So early on in the race here, drivers like Bunky and Pachel, who had a horrible qualifying session, not even setting a lap time, they are now in within the shot here.
So it's a very, very long race to go. Oh, of course, I'm just looking now. It looks like the Alpina and the little nose, that green, sort of like Hulk colour green Alpina there, we could say that, is looking now all over the back of the yellow Mercedes. We've got a move there. We're looking now at Oliveira's car. And you can just see him moving past all the Audis at the moment. He's right in the middle of that. He's only got one more Audi ahead of him in the leading Audi of that, of Haser there, and then after that it's just clear air ahead of him. Very, very good. Oscar Hardwick is in a real scrap there as well between himself and Patrick Bart there as well, further back in GT4s.
Let's just stay on board just for a little longer here to see how Oliveira will get past Haser. Fight for position at the moment, but they're not in the same class, of course. You can see the Audi getting sideways there, under braking. Oliveira doesn't want to lose any further time. Goes up the inside and he's past there.
A move, I think Vilgos has passed Nemchek.
Ooh, that's close. Pachel was trying as well.
There we go. Now we got yellow, red, and green cars as well. 3 different makes as well. The Corvette trying to put that horsepower down, but as you said, Rob, the Alpina pretty handy in a straight line here, and could be a bit of a menace actually in some cases, because I don't think the Alpina is the best handling car. As we just move up now to the 2 Mercedes here.
Oh, Riedel! That's a big moment.
He's just lost 1 position, but he might have a bit of damage to the right hand side of that car. But here comes David Nemchek now in the Slovakian, looking all over the back of this Mercedes rear wing ahead of him as they go up towards this very, very heavy braking zone here for the first time. They're just lying astern there. We're just getting to the second part of the circuit, entering the carousel there in GT3s, but now we're looking back further down, looking at the Audis. Kretschmer there, P17.
Oh, and I'm sorry to interrupt you once again, but the leader has been around.
Yes, he has.
Jerome Violent has been around in the same place where Bunky has been around in qualifying. Throws away the lead here and big damage to his Mercedes. As even Oliveira coming up. Ooh, almost loses it as well.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have any replays, unfortunately, you can't see what happened there, but it looks like he's hit the wall probably and entered the corner. And look at that big damage on the car. He's barely turning around. Even
let's hope he can get it back to the pit lane.
So he's still a long way to go, you know, in this race as well. You know, I definitely think get caught here by the Audis. But when he pits, he might be in quite a bit of trouble. So there's quite a lot of damage on that car as well. Now we're looking at the battling GT4. We've got the KTM there of Plascher. There, the German. Going through there, he has got a Lotus.
Yeah, Tony Becker's in the Lotus.
Yeah, Oscar Hardwick's got a big gap already. He's got 3 cars separating himself and the second car in GT4. It looks like Bart has had a mistake somewhere on this opening lap as well.
Yeah, so if you look at the times on the tower on the left side, it will always show the relative gap to the car in the same class. So that means Oscar Hardwick is about 8 seconds ahead of Patrick Bart at the moment.
is there as well, and we're just looking through the field. I see a couple of movers and shakers.
I think Castellanos here, or Castellanos. Oh, Hardwick! That's Hardwick, he's around!
He's around as well. Look at that, he's hit the wall. He's put nose wall into the fence. Now, we can't really see what's happening on the region. There we go. A good camera up there, Rob. Let's say it doesn't look like he's got too much damage on the car. But of course, he's lost the lead. Now back Patrick Bart's a few seconds ahead of him as well. I think in GT3 they're going down the straight for the first time as well. But keep looking on this battle. There we go.
Yeah, we have to go to the GT3s now. I think Lisazo, he's waving from side to side. Beautiful shot here. Ordner going past with the power of the BMW.
The BMW's got plenty of power to lay down, hasn't he? Down here. And look at this. Look at four-way scrap for the lead on the end of the first.
Hillebrand still keeps his Porsche in the lead.
Yeah. And he started P11 as well. Started right down the field. And his first lap just shows what the Nordschleife can bring in these races. The first lap of this race, you know, got 11th to first and is now under pressure, of course, but in a very, very good position. Just to see what else happens here. The next lap or so between these cars, I think it'll spread out a little bit. Let's look at the Mercedes looking down inside the yellow car there of, looks like
Banky, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that could work. That could work around the outside.
I think that Banky's going to get that. I think he's going to be up to P3. That's super stuff. Now Ortner now looking back from Ortner's car. I say he's got the... I think he's going to be restraining these Mercedes through here because it's not the best handling car, is it, the Alpina? And I think the Mercedes will be trying to nose, maybe have a look into this hairpin coming up, potentially.
Well, Ortner's in the M6, so it's kind of decent on the Grand Prix circuit, but the Mercedes is definitely quicker here. So he's holding up Banky a bit, and he's giving Hillebrand the room to breathe that he needs. Oh, we have another car off. I think it's Weiland again. He's pitting for damage now, of course. So maybe that gives us a little bit of time to catch up with the Audi TTs here. They are already on their next lap. Rick is leading the race 4 seconds ahead of Daniel Kretschmer. And then it's really close behind him already, with Courtois following right behind him.
Yeah, it's all over the rear wing of Kretschmer's car is Courtois. And I think looking pretty handy down here. Obviously the Audi's quite a lot of power. But I think with tyre wear around here, Rob, they might be struggling as Courtois now looking down the inside of the German. And looking like there, he looks like he's got that. He's got the power on nice and early out there. He's up to P2 as well. Looking really, really good round here. Is Courtois. He's impressed in qualifying and in testing and in pre-qualifying. Could be a dark horse here this afternoon for victory if he can get up to the back of Haser in the lead. As it looks like Christian's going to lose another place here.
Yeah, Stan Libby kind of out of nowhere. Just went past him here. The car with a little bit more black on it. Up into the podium position in class. Nice move in the German.
I say Patcher as well has had an off in the Audi as well. He looks like he's pitted for damage. The
oh yeah, he's stuck there. He's just sitting there in a very dangerous place. So let's hope that he can get it going again.
Either that all escaped. Hopefully, fingers crossed. As now looking back up at the front of the sharp end of the field is. We'll get Ortner here as well. Still in that P2 in the M6. And it looks like he's close a little bit here to Hillebrand. Hillebrand, of course, still at about that half-second gap. And he's going to be plenty of power in that M6 as well. He's closing in up to the left 5 very fast left lander here. They both get around nicely. Obviously, Porsche under brakes looking very, very strong and holds the lead into the hairpin there as well.
Banky, he's waiting for an opportunity to actually gapping Lisazo so fast in qualifying.
So he's got Ognoski behind him as well in P5. He's going to be all over Lisazo as well. It's a very, very difficult braking here because you have to brake like 3 times as well. And each one is very, very easy to actually miss your spot. You're turning and braking at the same time. Car wants to get a bit unstable with the braking. And sometimes you run a little bit wide, but Banky is looking really, really sharp. You know, he's all over the back of the M6's rear wing. Just can't make him way through, but he looks very, very patient almost to get past Ortner here as well. We're now looking further back. Oliviera making a move on the first of So the French driver there, Barrier, gets drove into that P12.
Good clean pass, and now Hillebrand is under pressure as well. I'm just going to kick Thomas Pache here from the server. I've never done this before. Hopefully it doesn't crash the server. Let's hope that it works, because he's still there, standing in the same place. Hillebrand is still keeping the lead here. It's a surprise lead. You can see he's not the fastest. You can see that everyone's kind of catching up to him now. But I mean, he got there. He got into the lead of the race. Didn't make mistakes when other people made them. So absolutely deserved that he's leading the race at the moment.
Hillebrand looking really strong here as well. If you're watching this in any of our streams, to say, let us know who you think is going to win this race. Because at the moment, it's a real lottery at the moment. Everyone's sort of mixed up. Still over 2 hours.
Oh, Banky! Banky was trying here, but now it's a straight again. So I don't think it's gonna work out for him.
And it's not on the higher ground, is he? It's at the M6 of what is on the higher ground. So it looks like he can defend. There he goes. Gets that position once again there as well. I hope you guys are all enjoying this. Still like 130 minutes of racing here as well. And I'm actually near to go with. And he just started, and it's all kicking off as I see Welland's moving up through the GT4 cars as well. He's made his pit stop and now make his way back to the field, but it's a long way down on these cars. Up through the back end of the circuit once again, on board with the back of the Porsche Hillebrand to brake, turn in. Obviously everyone's still line of stern, everyone's close together. You can see there in the background it's also there is close up to the back onto Banky's car, and it looks like to me Noski's there as well, so it looks like 5 cars left here with the lead.
Yeah, Noski has gone past Riedel. Oh, I think Riedel has made a mistake there. Goes back behind Patrick Pache.
And the Corvette's got to run as well. Nemchek here, the power of the Corvette doesn't get through. That's the newer Corvette in this field. We've got 2 types of Corvette in the field. We've got Nemchek in the newer one, and we've got Stefan Kosovec in the older Corvette. A bit more of a, put this politely, a bit more of a truck, shall we say, in the corners, but plenty of power down the straights. So the Nemchek Corvette is a bit more better in the corners, better handling car, but still got that horsepower to put it down the straights here as well around the Nordschleife. But Riedel here, who looked so strong earlier, he's making a mistake there, which you kind of expect a little bit here, Rob, but not good for your confidence in these opening few laps.
Yeah, of course he was looking much stronger in the beginning. Oh, I think it's Bilgosh has retired in the pit lane now, out of the race.
Yeah. We didn't see what happened there, unfortunately, but for Darius Vilgosh, you know, early retirement here on the second lap around Nordschleife. But here's Ortner now piling on the pressure here. Hillebrand now closer than he has been before, and Banky as well, still sniffing around, all around the back of the M6 ahead as they go into the back section here. Now, we'll probably stick on with this borderless battle, because we just might come up to the back straight in about a minute's time as well. Second time. They're all going to be closing up. Watch out for Sasso as well. He's closing up to his battle again. Of course, slipstream battling down here as well. He's about the same sort of gap you want to be if you want a nice slipstream. You get affected with the 30 around this corner, which is so fun to get the power on early. A good run out onto this back straight here, Rob. And the slipstream battles here, Rob, begins.
Oh, and this is bad news for Hillebrand, because now look at the power here of the BMW, just flying past him. Georg Ortner taking the lead of the race. If he gets to the end of the straight, he might have a chance again. But in this part of the straight, he is just getting mugged by everyone. Oh, now you can see the Porsche pulling again. I think he's in the slipstream of Ortner. Yes, indeed he is.
Oh, but you see also the power of Mercedes. Well, yeah, look like the slipstream shows the low aero on the Porsche. You know, really helping down the straight so he can stick there. And then maybe we get into the braking. So will he make a move down the inside? No, he doesn't. And Mercedes gets close behind him as well. Trying to get a good drive out of that last chicane and then onto the third lap here in the Nordschleife. Look at these leaders still welded together. And the Mercedes got to run.
Oh, and Hillebrand, he's going for the middle there. I thought he would maybe go for the inside because he will have the best brakes in the braking zone. And Banky! What is he doing? He's just taking the lead there. Banky just charges past both of them. And now he's into the lead of the race.
Bit of contact between Hillebrand and Ortner there as well. But Banky, the cheeky little rascal there, going into the lead the Slovenian hit the Slovakian there, the Slovenian there as well, into the lead of this race on the third lap here. So I think we've had 3 different leaders now in the opening laps. We've just seen the Audi there, the lead Audi, Ricasa there. He's still leading his class, and Patrick Bart is still leading in that GT4 class. But Oscar Hardwick all over his rear wing as well.
Yeah, Hardwick has recovered nicely from his little spin. So now let's see. He can retake the lead of the race.
Here we go. So we're just going to go back straight here now. It's going to be interesting here for see what the slipstream effect happens in these cars. We've got, but obviously both Lotus cars. Looks like Hardwick's got a pretty good run out of that corner. Seems down straight here once again. Looks like Hardwick's dropping back a little bit to maybe get the slipstream run out down the back end of the straight.
And it's the power of the Porsche Cayman here. Completely the opposite of the GT3 class. There the Porsche is kind of struggling on the straights. But in the GT4 it has the most power, and there's nothing Hardwick can do here.
So yeah, the power of the Porsche, so I've got both Lotus cars there, but the power of the Porsche getting down the straight, and look at that gap he's already built up. That's about a second down here already down the straight. So Oscar's not going to have much of a chance to pass down here. He's got to do his work maybe in the Grand Prix section lap, maybe in the twisty fiddly bits as well.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we just saw a pass here. Plachter getting passed by Mosca in the Porsche, and the KTM even slower than the Lotus on the straights. No chance whatsoever for Plachter to do anything about Mosca here.
There we go. So that Porsche looking very, very good down the straight. Tried to pull out a couple of seconds like KTM down the straight. So a very, very good defense mechanism there for the Cayman. I think probably, well, it's probably would be my car of choice around here. You know, it's a very, very good tool. Cause you got, yes, there's a lot of twiddly bits, but fiddly bits on this circuit as the KTM actually pits already on the third lap, at the end of the second lap actually. This is a very, very interesting call here. So we did not expect this.
Yeah, we were kind of expecting the GT4s to do a little bit more pitting than the other classes, but that's really early. Plachter first one in the pits, and we might see a change for position here. Into Schwedenkreuz around the outside. Georg Ortner against Nicolas Hillebrand. Has to slot back in. Now Lizaso and Ognoski are both attacking. Ognoski trying to take the inside here at Arenberg. Not quite enough of a gap.
Banking just cleared off into the distance. He says, see you later guys, I'm out here. He's already got a big gap, 2.5 seconds up the road already. Yaskara esports driver here looking very, very strong here since passing Hillebrand. Say Hillebrand doing a stern effort here of defending. He's really good. You actually see he's not the quickest of drivers, with the greatest respect to him. He's doing a fabulous job. But pace-wise, but also defending. You know, he's taking his opportunities really well here, Rob. And
what's he doing?
He's all over the grass. He's hogging the wall.
He just about stays ahead.
And that's the key here as well, Rob. You know, lack of concentration. You know, very easy to do around North Side. You need that apart from the back straight here, Rob. You need to be concentrated all the time.
Yeah, it's also
2 hours.
Very, very hot in Germany at the moment, so you can understand that sometimes you just make some mistakes. Hillebrand just losing concentration for a moment. In Bunky even bigger of a lead. And I talked with Hillebrand before the race, and he was complaining a little bit about the balance of performance, saying that the Porsche is not quite competitive here compared to the Mercedes and the BMW. But he still wanted to take the Porsche, and I think we see now why he wanted to take it, because he's quite comfortable in the car. In the race, he can withstand the pressure of drivers like Georg Ortner and Diego Lizaso for quite some time.
Georg Ortner as well, you know, he's going to be chasing that Porsche down the back straight in a few minutes' time, but here's that back to that battle for GT4. You've got Bart and Hardwick 1 and 2. Of course, you've got Steph Premers currently in that P3 as well. A bit further back down the field, but still doing a great job. But Oscar Hardwick, look at that. He's a bit further back at the start of the lap. Look at the situation now.
Yeah, in the corners, he's gaining a lot of time. We saw that in the qualifying session. He was 3 seconds faster than Patrick Bart. But it's so difficult to make an overtake stick when you're in a car that's slower on the straight. But here you can take a lot more speed through the corner. Maybe thought about diving there, but not quite going for it.
Got a great run out of there as well. So Oscar, can he potentially get the slipstream up the hill here? You know, it's not quite as long as obviously the back straight here at the end of the lap. You say there's still the Porsche still pulling away a little bit up here, but when you go through this section now, Watch the Lotus close up to the back of the Porsche. You know, it's going to get
Mistake from Bart, that could work. On
Again,
the outside here, Adenauer forced. Oh, not leaving a lot of room, but that's a clean pass. Oscar Hardwick in the lead.
That's a brilliant move there. He judged that to perfection. That little mistake from Bart Hardwick. And Marsh should take those opportunities in the past when I used to watch him race and race against him. He's absolutely brilliant at that sort of thing. Back in the lead, and now trying to build that gap before we head into the next long straight. Of course, this sort of section here, Alpha Hardwick, he's going to have a little bit of an advantage now for the next few corners and the next few section of track.
Yeah, I think that was a good place for him to make the pass stick, because now he can pull a gap, and now he won't be under, you know, under pressure once he comes to the Döttinger Höhe. Oh, I think there has been a change for position. Entirely sure. Nosky and Pachel very close together at the front, but maybe we can use the time here. Just take a look at a few drivers that we haven't seen so far in this race. For example, this man here, Gabor Cifra, currently running in 5th position in the Audi TT RS class.
And doing a nice job here as well, I believe. This first event in RaceRoom as well for Cifra as well. So doing a nice job. We've got Peter Younger there as well, the Belgian driver as well. We've got a nice battle behind here as well. It looks like the, well, it's actually the GT3 car of Velen there, recovering through the field. Just the Audi lets him pass there as well. We're not fighting at all through there. You know, it's very, very long afternoon's work here. All the German now passing through the field.
And I think Jünger had to lift off there in order to let Weiland through in this position. Oh, Ognoski and Pacher once again gaining positions there. So now Daniel Hummel has caught up with him, but now we just have to jump back to this battle here in the GT3 class just to see what's going on there with Austin Ognoski and Patrick Pacher. They're still all behind Hillebrand.
5 cars now back to this P2. It's now going to enter the straight once again. Hillebrand's going to be looking at that mirror because he's got that M6 all over the back of him once again of we'll get Ortner there as he's already pulled out and he's going to make the move now. Will Hillebrand make that same move once again? There he goes.
Oh, and Ortner is trying to get rid of him here because he knows in the braking zone in the first corner he doesn't have a big chance. And it's a little bit naughty driving actually, trying to break the slipstream.
Yeah, it's not something that I really approve of. You see the Spaniard as well, Lazarso is also trying to keep up with the slipstream but also weaving across the track as well. Here comes the Porsche, that very, very low track Porsche. Look at that, it's very, very awkward under braking, but they all managed to get through one more time. But here we go, down the straight here once again. The Porsche gets a good run out of there actually. And he's got the slipstream as well on the BMW. Let's see if we make the move there. You can't get any closer than that unless you're doing an MOT on the back of the BMW. You wouldn't be able to get any closer. Here we go into the first corner again for lap number 4. There's a bit of, look at that, the Porsche trying to do the over and under job. And here we go, he's got the traction out the corner as well. A little bit of a mistake there from Ortner. And Hillebrand's back in front.
Well, I think Lizaso is going to go past Ortner here as well. Oh, he has to brake early. Ortner's trying around the outside with the downforce of the BMW. Now he has the inside against Hillebrand. That could work for Ortner. Bit of contact, still side by side. Better run out of the corner for Hillebrand. Pacher meanwhile past Ognoski. And Hillebrand still ahead.
So look at that, the Alpina looking down the inside as well. This is tremendous stuff, and I hope you guys at home who are watching this are enjoying it as well, because this has been fabulous so far. I didn't think this was going to be the case at all. We've done about half an hour's racing here, there and thereabouts. Got just under 2 hours to go. This is really, really interesting stuff, isn't it? And they've got, of course, as well, a little bit further behind, about 7 8 from Radel Nemchek. They're going to be closing in on this as well.
Side by side, around the outside by Nemchek, very nice, and Oliveira is joining in now as well. Here on the Grand Prix circuit, that's where the Corvette thrives. Bit of a mistake by Riedel, and I think Oliveira is going past him now.
Got a power of the Nissan as well, just driving past, and that's the big strength of that car, isn't it, Rob? You know, just the sheer run to that car. Turbocharged as well, so we have a bit of lag, particularly some of the slower corners, but as soon as it gets up to speed, that Nissan is a real weapon around a track like this as well.
If you like what you see, of course, make sure to leave a like and to subscribe to our channel, because we've got a lot of races coming up this year. Hopefully all with so much action here as Nicolas Hillebrand is still fighting for his life. He's now 9 seconds down on Bunky, but he's still staying in second place somehow, ahead of Ortner, Lisaso, Pache and Ognoski.
Yeah, so it's just really, really close stuff, but it puts, you know, you see other leagues who try and race around, but also you cannot get this sort of racing for long periods of time. We've been going half an hour now, and it's still welded together here at the front. Banky's cleared off up the road. He's not trying to get involved. He's now 10 seconds up the road, of course. But Hillebrand's doing a stunning job still of holding these cars up behind him. And the handling of the Porsche, the late braking of the Porsche as well, really helps on a section like this part of the track as we're entering now. With these right-hand corners here, as the left-hand corners, as we got Ortner there, trying to get past.
He has to brake in the middle of Schwedenkreuz there in order not to run into the back of Hillebrand. Pache once again was looking. And I think what's really interesting is that the Porsche can't reach these top speeds on its own. But once it's in the slipstream, it can actually go also to a really, really high top speed comparable the one of the BMW. So every time Hillebrand gets past on a long straight on the Döttinger by Ortner, he can just repass him. As Ortner made a little bit of a mistake when that almost allowed Pache through there on Lisaso, because Lisaso had the outside line. And all of this, it's like a miracle for Vinny Oliveira, who was dead last after the first corner, recovering to P7, and he will join this battle probably during this lap.
It's going to be really, really interesting. Hopefully Nemchek can also get involved as well. You know, if he can just be dragged along in this and follow. And if you ever up the track as well, the Corvette got very similar characteristics actually as well. Ricciardo, they're still in a race in his own, of course, in the Audis. You know, he's got a big gap now, about 8.5 seconds now.
And we lost Stan Libby. He had a game crash. He's out of the race. Shame for him. He was running well on the podium. So Hazen now still clear in the lead of the race. Oh, change of position here. Almost. Ognoski was trying against Pache. Sorry to jump there a bit rapidly, but these two have been fighting all race long. And there you can see already Oliveira and Nemchek in the background.
Yeah, they're coming up. I reckon when we get to the end of the second sector, maybe the start of the third, that's when we see these other two close up to this battle. And hopefully, and of course, later on in this race, Rob, as well, we're going to expect some pit stops.
Yeah.
And obviously, different cars, different size fuel tanks, different strategies we'll see in play as well. It'll be interesting, isn't it? I think cars like Nissan will have to pit early, essentially, because the fuel tank in that car is not quite as big, I believe.
Well, the fuel tank is actually really big in the Nissan, but it consumes so much fuel that I'm pretty certain you have to pit twice in the Nissan. While in the BMW and in the Mercedes, it could be possible to do it with only one stop, but then, of course, you have to drive a very, very long time on very worn tires. These two are fighting hard. Even harder here between Lisaso and Pache. Lisaso dropped back a little bit. And Nemchek and Oliveira also side by side. I think went a little bit on the grass there, even out of the move curve.
Nemchek doing a good job actually taking advantage of the Cadillac Corvette to stick behind Oliveira. That should be his plan now, in my opinion. Just stick behind him, catch up to the guys ahead of him, and we get to that back straight, that Corvette, very, very low drag, of course. Also a huge ball of power there as well to get down the straight. It's got, you know...
Oh, Ortner has been around!
Ortner's around without a front bumper. He's had an incident there in the same corner. It's called come drivers out already. You know, banking qualifying, and he got... in the race as well, so that is going to be a trip to the pits for Jorge Ortner there as well as he goes off the circuit. There's a long drive there back as well there, Rob, but I could see, I didn't mention it, but I could see it coming that someone's going to lose out at some point. Unfortunately for Jorge Ortner, it's had to be him for now.
Oh, and Riedel has been in the wall as well. He's got big damage. Kosovac just went past him there. So two more of the GT3 cars have been caught out. Probably at the end of the carousel corner in the acceleration zone. A little bit too eager on the throttle. They're dropping back now. And we've got a fight in GT4 between Heinemann and Domenico La Barba.
The Barber as well, who's struggling qualifying. You know, he's 27th at the moment. We've got 30 runners still in this race, you know, still a good number of cars in each class, you know, so it's still a long way to go, of course. A couple of incidents here and there, but it's been relatively clean. See, everyone knows there's a long way to go, of course. It might spice up as you go into the later stages of this race, potentially, if everyone behaves themselves. Yeah, really, really well. I think for a lot of people, you know, just still being the race, still being a nice group of cars to have a good scrap with. And for a lot of people, the first time on a RaceRoom official race as well, in the Server 1, so it's been a really, really good event so far for a lot of these people. Heinemann there goes up the hill there as well. I think both of these cars are in the Cayman as well, so they've got plenty of power. Potentially close up to the back of the rest of the drivers. If they make a mistake, looking further up in the field, looks like Oscar Hardwick still leading this class from Patrick Bartman. I think they get there a couple of seconds, I believe, there as well. It could be. Let's look at this in closer detail. It looks like to me a couple of seconds between those two cars. Oh, do you know,
yeah, 7 seconds even.
8 seconds at the moment between these two.
Have to jump back to the GT3s because they're on Döttinger again. And now you can see Patrick Pache unleashed here in his Alpina, just driving past Diego Lizaso.
You say the power of that Alpina, well, last past the Mercedes. So interesting philosophy. All these cars have different philosophies of what a car should be going like in around a track like this, but all still very, very close together as they get the Mercedes a good drive out of there. The Alpina loses it a little bit, and the Mercedes has now got also the slipstream now, where he's going to use a bit of slipstream on the Alpina. Can Lizaso make the move into turn 1 once again? Let's have a little look here. So how confident is he under the braking zone? He pulls out to the right of the Alpina, makes a move down the inside, nice and relatively clean. Yeah, no contact there at all. And that's Lizaso back on that podium position.
Bartman, meanwhile, has made it back into the pit lane here. He will probably fight with Weiland later on in the race.
See how long this pit stop's going to be. Back with the Audis. It's Junge there. He's the Belgian driver. Here he is in P3 doing here we are having this battle here with the Hungarian driver ahead of him at this moment of time of Chifa. About for 17th overall and 4th and 5th in class.
Dina as well in the pits. Let's see. Oh no, it's Riedel actually, of course. He also had the damage. He's fixing that at the moment.
It'll be interesting, isn't it? Because it depends really when you have the accident. I think it's too early to really consider this a good time to have a proper pit stop. You've got to be waiting over about 20 minutes or so. If you are doing a 2-stop race, you just want to keep it nice and equal each pit stop. Not ideal at this time really to consider pitting, because when you've got an hour and 50 to go here, we can go in just over about 35 minutes or so. Got a long way to go here as Rick Haas there, going down straight once again, looking very, very comfortable out in front of his class.
Yeah, Courtois in second place. You can see the little red number there. It says P2 in class. And Daniel Kretschmer, of course, moved back up into third place after the disconnect or the game crash of Stan Libby. And then we've got the nice battle here, Chifra against Junge. On the same cars, but of course you can change your setup, and it seems like a little bit less wing for Chifra.
Yeah, he seems to be holding out. That's the thing, you know. Do you set your car up for the straights here around Nürburgring, or do you set it for the more handling parts of the track? It is easier if you can handle.
Oh, and I think what happened with Lizaso? Lizaso has been off the track.
Has, you know, and he's rejoined right in front of the car there in P8. That is Attila Dina, and they're right close up with each other as well. And also that battle is spread out a little bit. Oliviera's in P4 at the moment. With Nemchek in 5th. Pash has dropped back a little bit, but he's in 6th. I think it's been in between Pash and Lasato potentially.
Both of them dropped back there, and now Pacha just getting back past Nemchek. Ooh, that's close.
Paint rubbing there.
Should be the position for Pache. Bit more power on the Alpina. Yeah, both of them dropped back. So now Oliveira in 3rd.
Yeah, he's back past Ognoski actually there as well. So Oliveira, the recovery driver, is very much in control, isn't it? From that, spinning from pole position, first couple of corners, spins the car, goes right down to the back of the field. Now recovering really well, and probably looking at the end of the slap, all over the back of that portion of him.
We also got more people pitting. Jünger, Hummel and Schifra all in the pits in the Audi TTs. Interestingly, in the GT4 class, only Plachta was in the pit lane so far. No one else has pitted.
You see Oscar Hardwick jumping up a few places because that. It could be the fact as well, Rob. You know, these Audis didn't really know, but of course they're front-wheel drive. Those tyres will be taking an absolute pounding around Nordschleife, of course. So you could see them, if that's a planned pit stop, probably do the 4 stops here today.
Yeah, and you can also see different stop length here in the Audis. Maybe different types of starting fuel, different amounts of refueling required. Daniel Hummel came out in front of Schifra and Jünger by quite a big gap, actually. Jünger lost out the most there in the pit lane, as they've got Patrick Bart now in between them and then Steph Kramers. We haven't really seen so much. Currently running in 3rd place in class, followed closely by Dirk Retschel.
A tasty battle here in the next few laps, you would imagine, both in Eamon, I believe. Oh no, it looks like the Lotus is behind him, I believe. No, he is in the Porsche. Is Dirk Retschel. And just looking at his battles now on track, it looks like that Oliviera and Ognossi are still pretty close together on track as well. That's the battle between P3 and GT3 as they're wiggling round that part of the circuit once again. And of course, the power of the Nissan round here actually going to be probably looking again about a second or so on the back of that Porsche ahead of him as well. These 3 could be very, very close in a couple of few corners time.
Yeah, and it's really quite a shame that we missed it, what happened between Lizarzo, Pache and maybe also Ognoski, because he also lost the position to Oliveira, of course. It seems like these 3 just kind of all fell off the road at the same time, and then Oliveira got 3 positions basically for free, and now he's back in contention. Maybe he can close the gap even to Bunky. Bunky's looking very fast at the moment, fastest driver on track with the 8:14. Even Oliveira only on the 8:15.
Yeah, it's almost like Oliviera's been given the red carpet you know, into that podium position, because everyone else surrounding, they sort of fought and they made mistakes, and Oliviera's just picked up position. Ognoski there behind him as well, but very difficult. But Ben Spanky up the road, of course, miles ahead at the moment, about 18 seconds up the road. There is that yellow Mercedes, and since he took the lead, Rob, he's looked at a class of his own.
Yes, of course, he's the reigning champion of the Esports WTCR Championship. If you're interested in that, you should keep a close eye on all RaceRoom social media channels in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, Ben Spanky, the driver from Slovakia, Hungarian roots, and for the Oscaro Esports team, plenty of experience. He was here at the Tuning World Bodensee in the 4-hour race as well, driving together with Alexandre Romand, and I think they finished in 4th place or in 5th place, I can't quite remember. Either way, he's got experience on this track, in this exact car, and he's doing everything that he needs at the moment to put himself in a good position for the victory. But it remains still interesting what's going to happen with the strategies. Because Bunky, he's a guy who likes to pit a little bit more than, you know, he doesn't want to risk it on the old tires. Even at the 4-hour race, he was in 3-stop strategy, for example, while most other teams were on a 2-stop. So let's see if he will go for the same strategy. And let's also see how long Nicolas Hillebrand can keep the Nissan of Oliveira behind him. And I feel next time at the Döttinger Höhe, it's going to be very, very tough for him to keep this place.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just reading some of the conversations going on in the YouTube chat. I see Alexander van der Voorde there, Don Scott, Defin B there as well, Stan Libby as well. He's been involved in the chat there as well. Hope you guys are all doing well watching this race. So a long, long way to go. But here we go with the power of the Nissan Oliveira. Run that switching straight away. See, look at that. It's just no contest, is it really?
No chance for Hillebrand there. Now he wants to stay close because he will have better brakes for sure. Braking actually not so bad in the Nissan, it's more the acceleration out of the corners where this car is struggling. See it here, Hillebrand a lot better under power. Can pull alongside, but now he's not in the slipstream. And this would be very difficult for him to do anything about Oliveira. He also has to watch out for Ognoski in the background.
Ognoski's going to be sniffing around here because these two will be very defensive. It looks like into turn 1. But Olivier gets that move.
Oh,
Look at that
Ognoski
lunge
late.
from Ognoski. Looks like to me, look at that, just about. So I didn't exactly see what happened because of the change of camera there. But there we are. Olivier is through, and Hildebrand just about defends that position there. Ognoski, I thought he was going to be sniffing that, and he definitely made the move, but looked at least, but couldn't quite manage to do that as well. So interesting there. But this battle, interesting if Hildebrand actually holds on now, because obviously that slipstream very powerful in the Porsche. Can he manage to get on the tails of Olivier? Very difficult when Olivier is very, very quick in that Nissan. As you rightly say, the acceleration of the Nissan at some of these corners, not so great.
When we look at the times from qualifying, I would assume that Oliveira can check out now and try to hunt down Ben Spunky at the front of the field. Oh, Hillebrand and Ognoski, that's pretty close as well. Oh, he's looking! Oh, contact there! Ognoski almost around. When you make contact with that Porsche, so much weight at the rear of the car, you won't be able to spin it, you rather spin yourself. Ognoski almost lost out there. We're just going to jump back to a battle in the GT4 class real quick, because Tony Beckers has caught up with Domenico Labarba here.
Battle here for P28, of course, as well, right at the back of the field. But you know, these two still scrapping away, and it's good to see scraps going all through the field, whether in top of GT3 or the back of GT4, in the middle of the other classes. You know, it is a really good thing to see as well. These people really being really committed. We've now just done about, you know, the 1 hour stage now, I believe, if my maths are correct, which
I don't think they are, to be honest.
no, they're not. No, my maths is not correct. There we go. There we are.
Let's try to find a camera that's actually showing the race.
We lost track of time, which is really, really bad of me.
It should be at 1 hour and 24 minutes. That's when we
go.
have the first hour done. But we're kind of getting into a region where you can think about pitting if you're going for a two-stop strategy.
Yeah, so yeah, 2 stops could be a very, very big thing. I mean, I'm probably expecting to see so many Audis pitted on one of the last couple of laps. We'd probably expect to see some more coming in, like Haas's, Courtois, Castellanos, you know, all these sorts of guys there. We're going to see in the pits.
Yeah, Castellanos. Haven't seen him on the screen at all so far. I think he's doing a good job here. Ahead of some of the cars that have pitted, and I think also ahead of Hugjax, who I think hasn't pitted yet. Well, let's see if they are coming in now. Well, Hayes is not coming into the pits because he's already past the start-finish straight.
I don't think so, no. It looks like they're all going to carry on, so it's maybe a bit of different strategy going on there between them and the others who have pitted already, like the Chiefers, the Youngers there as well. I say, interesting to see the gap actually between Oliveira and Banky. You know, as we see Hildebrand running wide there.
Yeah, also interesting to see how well Hildebrand can keep up with Oliveira at this point of the race. Kretschmer into the pits or off the road. Let's just check with him. Oh, he's in the pits, and Hildebrand went off the road there. Sorry to jump away there in the wrong moment, but Hildebrand with the mistake. Every time we say something nice about him, it's just this small mistake. And Austin Ognoski now up into P3.
He's been looking for that as well. Ognoski is very aggressive, actually trying to find a way past the Porsche, but he finally does so after Hildebrand makes that error. And into that podium position goes Austin Ognoski there as well. And interesting to see now for Ognoski. They probably pull away from Hildebrand as Oliveira is pulling away up the road as well. Can Ognoski keep up? Well, what I was originally going to say is Ben Banky and Oliveira, what is that getting? That's currently about 17 seconds, I believe. At this
I think it was 14 before, so maybe Banky is actually lapping quicker than Oliveira at this stage.
Yeah.
Oh, I think something happened with Hardwick here. Yeah, he's into the pits as well.
Dusk Hardwick, the first of the planned GT4 stops. You've got another car as well in the pits ahead. I think it's one of the Audi.
Yeah, it's Chifra.
Chifra's in again, so that's a strange one. But here comes Dusk Hardwick pitting in now. So you can see how quick and get a stop done.
Bart's already passed. He's staying out.
Pitting as well.
Famous in, Gretschel staying out. Let's see with Mosca. We haven't seen Mosca on the screen at all, I think. The only driver that we haven't focused on in this race. Italian from Absolute Motorsport. Navigating through the final chicane here. Ooh, bit of understeer. And he's coming into the pits as well.
Interesting stuff. So where it's interesting to see if the different cars have different pit times as well. I guess quite similar because they're all similar spec cars. But it looks like where's Steph Kronos? Because he's in the pits as well with Hardwick. Is Hardwick going to? Hardwick should get out ahead of.
Hardwick's going now again. And Clemens is still standing there.
Past the Porsche in the pits. In the Magenta WRT team, of course, a very, very experienced team. Someone I actually raced for a long time ago. He actually comes out right with the other GT4 car as well.
Tony Becker's on the inside. Hasn't pitted, but I think Hardwick should have the position here to run on the outside and with fresher tires.
Yeah, and they're both in the same car as well, both in the Lotus car. So it's for Tony now, it's just a case of trying to follow Oscar as best you can. So just get through these next couple of laps before he pits himself.
Look at Mosca, he's ahead of Kramers coming out of the pit lane. So that was either a very long stop for Kramers or a very short stop for Mosca.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if Steph's actually pitted for damage or not. We can't tell really from how they pit if they repair for damage or not. But it could be potentially that Steph has repaired damage on that car that might be affecting his performance a little bit. Now the back of the field, back down in 29th at the moment in time. But here we go, Jörg Gordner there.
Yeah, and
racing
Violent.
with Valmond like we thought.
Yeah, and Riedel in the background as well. All these three totaled their car in exactly the same way. Well, they didn't quite total it. It was just the front of the car missing. Had to pit for damage, went back out. Now they're fighting with each other.
Yeah, and it's going to be
was out of this corner here. Let's see if they make it through. One makes it, two make it, and Riedel made it as well.
Yeah, they all just lost under power, didn't they, out of there, which a few cars have done that as well. In this race, there's still a long way to go. Still 94 minutes of racing to go here, so we've had 50 minutes of racing. My maths, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 50 minutes of racing we've had now. So we're getting up to that 1/3 stage of this race now, so too bad at all. So Ognoski has passed Oliveira.
On the straight, and that's a surprise. Let's see if Oliveira can go back here. The power of the Nissan. It looks like it's side by side. Down Tiergarten into the Hohenrhein chicane, and Oliveira is well clear ahead of Ognoski there. Ooh, little bit of swerving from from Oliveira under braking. Isaso and Nemček also trading positions. Oh, side by side into the chicane. Oh, there's contact, Lisaso! It's the wall on the inside.
But that was too bad though. He's still got his front splitter, but he's going to pan out a little bit, isn't he, on that right hand side of the car. But Nemček there has the position of the car and pits straight away actually, Lisaso there as well. So whether that's planned or not, I'm not too sure.
It could be planned, could be the two-stop strategy.
Yeah.
And Hillebrand is in the pits as well. He was talking about it, that he has no other choice in the Porsche.
I think it's the right strategy as well around here as well, you know, tyres. Trying to get tyres, do an extra sort of maybe 30 minutes or so on a set of tyres. You know, if you one stop, very difficult. Very difficult. That's an extra 3 or 4 laps. One extra, at least another 3 laps on these tyres. It's very, very difficult. Olivia there in P2. What, about 15 seconds. It's close to a little bit between Oliveira and Banky. But Banky's just in cruise control at the moment. Just control the race how he wants it. And through here's Banky now, just going to come off the Grand Prix layout in a couple of moments' time. As he just goes through the fast chicane once again. As you said, the curbs there very, very aggressive. Hit those plates there as well, because the car can just jump up, go flying off the circuit potentially as well. Definitely some two-wheel action there. Still a part of the circuit which of course a lot of drivers take for granted there, Rob, but still easy to get it wrong.
Yes, indeed. Very easy to get it wrong there. You think, okay, that's an Nordschleife, and that's the difficult part. The Grand Prix circuit, we'll just drive it. But that's actually a place where you can lose a lot of time. or even flip your car. We've seen it in esports WTCR last season where Peugeot just landed on his roof, just you know, just made like a half flip exactly and then slided on his roof. So yeah, it can always happen very quickly at the Grand Prix circuit. Ben Spunky still leading the race, and we've got close battles between Ortner and Weiland in the first corner there. And that's Weiland past Ortner, and maybe Ortner will lose another position to Jonas Riedel, who's got a good run coming out of the corner. Should have the inside here for the next corner. He's already clear of Ortner. So Ortner down to P13, last of the runners in the GT3 category. And that's on the Grand Prix circuit, of course. That's the place where the BMW is the weakest compared to the Mercedes. I mentioned before, very good all-rounder. Mercedes, and we have to jump to the GT4s because Oscar Hardwick has caught up with Mark Heinemann. Hardwick has been in the pits, Heinemann hasn't. Hardwick doesn't want to lose so much time, but here on the straights, it's a very frustrating affair for the Englishman. There's nothing he can do to keep up. We will see here, probably already in mood curve, Hardwick can take the corner a lot quicker than Heinemann. Let's see how much time he gains here. Just see how big the Porsche gets. That was massive, a massive difference here through the corner. Hardwick just regaining all the time. Heinemann has to brake once again. That gives Hardwick the inside here, and he should be able to make the move stick. On the inside, next corner is the carousel, of course. Hardwick back through. Ahead of Heinemann. Now chasing Rachel. Already back through into third position, despite having pitted.
So really, really strong run from Oscar Hardwick. I see one of the favourites, of course, in this race. But now he's still got to prove the point. He's still got to perform when the time is right, and have to, you know, still concentrate for the full 2 hours here. Of course, a long way to go. Of course, an hour and a half to go here now. So 90 minutes racing still to go in this race. And Oscar Hardwick, of course, already pitted. So the gap between him and the leader at the moment in that class, actually there, well, you know, he's got quite a bit of a gap to go. It's about a minute or so, actually, between the two cars. But obviously a long pit stop here as well. Patrick Barth still leading, provisionally at least, that GT4 class. We got Courtois leading the Audis, you know, the Audi class there as Rick Hayes has also pitted in that class. And Ben Spanky now leading by 18 seconds in the gap in the GT4 class. I'm looking at Velen there to having to defend from the Mercedes.
And they're gapping Ortner, and we just saw, of course, Weiland and Riedel both passing Ortner in the first sector. And someone mentioned in the chat that Ortner might have damage. And it's true, they've all been in the wall. They've all been in the wall in the same way, but maybe the BMW crew didn't manage to fix all the damage as well as the Mercedes crew here. You can still see a bit of damage, of course, on Weiland's car. Didn't manage to put the headlight back in. But maybe these two Mercedeses are just going a little bit better at this stage.
Yeah, of course. Not only how hard you hit the car, but where you hit the car as well. You know, sometimes you hit maybe a certain angle that affects the car more than maybe, say, square front on the car, which is probably a bit less. You know, they've all repaired their front bumpers, of course, and now still going, but or it could be the fact that Orton's just taking it easy for now, but still going really decently there. He's currently the last of the GT3 runners, of course, in 13th place. Still got 13 of them still going, so it's still a reasonable effort from, you know, so many cars still going at this stage, and 13 cars are still going, so very, very respectable indeed.
Yeah, we lost 3 cars here. Bilgosh and Pacher both retired, and then, of course, Stanley Lee with his game crash out of the race as well. So 3 people didn't manage to start the race. 1 reported absent, and 2 guys just completely went missing. But I think we still have an awesome race here, an awesome grid today. And Jan Courtois, he will be enjoying it as well, because he's leading at the moment in the Audi TT category. Oh, and Patrick Barth in the pit lane now as well. So we will see a different leader in the GT4 category as well. And as Dirk Ritschel is coming to the pits, I would assume that it's going to be Oscar Hardwick once again.
Yeah, Hardwick's just going to come out of the chicane, the final chicane, and retake the lead of this race in GT4 class. Here he comes across the line once again. He'll retake the lead. It's interesting to see where Steph Kramer's coming to this actually because he has pitted. He had quite a long stop. Also for where Heinemann comes out. Actually, no, I don't think Heinemann's pitted. Yeah,
He's
it's
coming in now.
Steph Kramer's. Yeah. Where will Steph Kramer's come out in this? Because he's in P28 at the moment, but quite a long stop he tend to have at the time. He's actually re-overtaken Mosca as well. See where that comes out. And this is Steph Kramer's car now as he goes into the chicane. Again, he's got another GT4 car ahead of him as well on the track. That is Tony Becker's car, who also pits. Here comes Kramer's now. Now, where is he going to fall into this area? He's at one place there already.
Mars is already back out of the pits. Let's see, Rachel should be coming out of the pits now. Oh, I think he's past Rachel. Yes, Rachel. There he is, so Kremers is way ahead of him.
Kramer's well ahead, and I think Platcher also had a very early stop in this race after about the first couple of laps. Not too sure if he's planning to pit the next couple of laps also, but he's still going out round there in now. But he's currently third in class, at least as originally stands in one of the very few KTMs in this field. I think it's the only KTM actually in this field today in GT4. Look at Olivier Herrera once again, with Ognoski still following every move of this race. I'm just going to answer a question here from
Bunky's in the pits. I'm sorry to interrupt you once again.
It's fine.
Bunky is in the pits. Let's see if Oliveira is pitting. He's not. Oliveira looks like he's going for the one stop, but Ognoski is in the pits as well.
Yeah, Ognoski's in. Some different strategies here. As well, I was going to say, answer. Any girls trophy today? I don't believe so. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty confident it's an all-male field here today. But Oliviera here, you actually rightly say, staying out on track. He might just be feeling really comfortable on the car. You know, maybe going up one extra stop. You probably check the fuel levels to see what's going on there. But Noski here in the pits, so in that Mercedes.
Ach stayed out. I think Nemchek stayed out as well. Yes, indeed. Dina also still out on track. It's actually pretty close to Nemchek now, so maybe Nemchek made a mistake at some point. Tony Becker's there in between, who just came out of the pits. Let's check with Stefan Kosselbeck. He's into the pits. Valentin Barrea staying out. Lots of different strategies. And Barrea staying out in the Porsche. So that's interesting. Hillebrand mentioned you can't do the one-stop strategy in the Porsche, but looks like Barrea is going to attempt it.
GT4 car behind the barrier was a bit naughty there, crossing that white line, leaving the pits. I'm not sure if got any penalties for that, Rob. Afterwards.
I think he's good for this one, yeah. There's no automatic slowdown yet, and I don't think anyone will report him for this in this race.
A little bit more relaxed regarding that, but to say the GT4 leaves the pits anyway, but barrier visually in P5 is that scrap again between the two cars recovering. Velen defending from Radel. The two Mercedes scrapping away. Radel's got the overlap. And
they don't want to put new damage on their cars there, do they?
Almost getting onto the grass and nearly have an accident there, but they both recovered it just in time as they both go over the straight here once again. The Mercedes there, still got a car in the pits there, I just see as well. Velen defending already.
What happened with Rick Hazer? He's in the pit lane once again. I think this is his second pit stop, isn't it?
You know what? Looking at the time difference, I think that's a retirement.
Well, his car is still lined up in a way that he could be able to continue afterwards. This was our former leader, and this is definitely not going to be our leader at any point further on in this race. Such a big gap. Let's hope he gets going again, but it kind of looks like this is it for him.
Yeah, he's over 300 seconds behind the next car, so I think sometime in the last lap he's had a DNF, which means, that provisionally at least, we've got Jan Courtois still leads in the class. There in Castellios in P2, and then Hoyets in P3, the Hungarian driver there. So a big disappointment there for Hesse, who's looked very, very strong today. But unfortunately, looks like that's a retirement after about an hour, so really unfortunate there.
Yeah, and Hookjes running at the moment in front of Kretschmer. I'm not sure if Hookjes has pitted in this race or if it was Schiffer who pitted twice. But we've seen two of the black and blue cars going into the pit lane. I think it was Schiffer twice actually.
Yeah.
So that would mean that Kretschmer is the fastest of the runners who has pitted. So let's see Courtois versus Kretschmer. Two different strategies. Let's see how that's going to work out.
So interesting to see what battles are going on through the field on track. Any close battle. Looks like Koshebek and Ortner are very close on the circuit. That's about for 12th place. Koshebek just pitted, of course, in that Corvette. But it's now going to be difficult for Koshebek here to catch up, I think, because that Corvette not so good in the corners, as you're probably just about to see in his first part of the lap.
And we've also seen something interesting happening in the pit lane, and that is that the pit stop of the Porsche has been a lot faster than the pit stops of the Mercedeses. Hillebrand has been in, and he's jumped Ognoski, and he's now over 5 seconds ahead of him. Only 15 seconds behind Bunky. Oh, Rachel, I think Rachel has been off the track there. Rachel with the spin, that's bad for him, of course, because he's now losing the back of Steph Kramers. Yeah, just going back to my initial point, Benz Bunky has lost a bit of time in the pit stop here compared to Hillebrand. Hillebrand's gone past Ognoski, so Ognoski, after doing all this hard work... Ooh, that's close! And that's into the wall and big damage for the Porsche there. Alessandro Mosca just got completely caught up there by Nicolas Hillebrand. And he's got a long way back to the pit lane there. Not sure if it was Mosca trying to let him through at an unexpected place or just Hillebrand coming in too hot there. But that's the end of the race for Alessandro Mosca. What a shame.
Big damage on that car, wasn't it? It looks like he had a puncture as well because he just spun the car, rejoining the circuit with a big hit and out of the race for Mosca. So unfortunately for the Italian, he is retired from this race. We're now rewatching this battle here between Koshebek and Ortner here as well. And that Corvette's right at the back of him. Didn't think that at all, but Koshebek just pinned, of course, fresh tyres on that Corvette. Looking really strong here. Maybe potentially getting moved down into a relatively decent straight here for the Corvette to put the bow down.
Ortner defending on the inside. Not a place to go side by side. So far, no move. I think Ortner's really struggling here. Castellanos, meanwhile, in the pit lane.
I've also got a battle here at the in the Audi class here. So Kretschmer's all over the back here of the Hungarian driver here in front of Hugyets. Is interesting about, and interesting actually the Audis around here. You know, I was a bit skeptical thinking about the racing around here with the Audis, you know, being front wheel drive and stuff. But they've actually fit in really well here in this class. You know, really good racing.
It's a little bit more spaced out, I think, in the Audis compared to the other classes. We had, of course, the battle with Kretschmer, with Libby, and with Chifra in the beginning of the race. Now Kretschmer, I think it won't be too long until he will attempt his move against Hugyets. Jünger in the pit lane as well for his second pit stop. Just check if he's really in the pits. Yes, indeed he is. And now Kretschmer is attempting his move here. Quite close enough. So very different strategies. Courtois is still going, hasn't pitted at all, while Jünger has been in the pits already twice.
Yeah, it's a very strange one. I just thought, getting back to your thoughts actually on the pit stops here with the Porsche, Rob here. I think because the Porsche's a V6 car, needs less fuel potentially to get round. It's quite a light car as well. Just seen a move there actually with Kretschmer. Looks like it's been let through there by the Hungarian driver there. Is it potentially that's the quickest stop because it potentially is less fuel to put in that Porsche?
Yeah, I think it has a little bit less of fuel capacity, so it should be a bit faster, but maybe Hillebrand tried something interesting with the tires, because he's losing time rapidly compared to Bunky now and also to Ognoski. Maybe he just went for, I don't know, a 2-tire change, perhaps? Or he's just attempting for a shorter middle stint. That could also be a possibility, that he's just refueling a bit less, because he knows he can drive the stint a little bit shorter. Either way, Ortner has been passed by Kosovac now.
Kosovac be happy because he now can get the power lap Corvette down and try and clear up the road a little bit. Ortner seems like he's been a bit wounded after that accident he had earlier today. And he's not been quite the same since, has he? You know, he's been struggling a bit. Here's Daniel Hummel there. He's all over the back here as well of Hugyets. In the other Audi, of course, that blue and black Audi. Around the back of the circuit here as well. It's interesting to see.
Hillebrand. What happened to him?
Oh, he's had an accident there, hasn't he? Now that is, where is that on the circuit? That's a It's a strange one to have a crash in, I think. You know, that's around back of the circuit, you know. Difficult place. But,
I think it's a very fast section here, Flansgarten section. It's possible to make a mistake here. Lisasso's catching up, who's lost a lot of time with this early pit stop. And Hillebrand at least still going, looks like no damage.
Real damage to talk about there, nothing obvious anyway. We've got more cars in pits. Oliveira's finally pitted. We said he might be 1 or 2 laps later. We got the KTM also in the pits as well.
Yeah,
and
we were Pache in the pits as well. And that's kind of, is that really one-stop area? Is that really gonna work with the one-stop? I am not sure. Nemchek coming into the pits as well. So does Dina. That could work, but it's really risky. You definitely have to do at least 1 extra lap in the second stint compared to the first one. And then it depends on when do you cross the finish line. Is it gonna be +1 lap? Is it not gonna be +1 lap? That's quite interesting to see. Barrier also in.
Very, very tight. Won't it? It might be the case. Potentially now, if people doing the bottom stop might not have the tyre save, but maybe a bit of fuel saving as well. Because they haven't really hit 50%, not quite 50% yet, but Ben Tacky retakes the lead of this race for the time being. You know, he's just building that gap now ahead. Dina is currently P2, but I think in the pits.
I think Ognoski's gonna come out in second here.
Yeah.
Now Oliveira is getting going again, but he's not out of the pits yet. Oliveira behind Ognoski. So Oliveira kind of has to do no further pit stops in order to make it work, because look at that. He's also dropping behind Hillebrand. He's also dropping behind Lisasso. So he probably refueled all the way, and he's just praying, he's just hoping that somehow he can make it work here until the end of the race.
Very, very difficult. It's not exactly what I expect Vinny to come out. He's now behind, obviously, the Lotus.
Tony Beckles.
Yeah. He gets through that nice and clean, but now back on board with Nicholas Hillebrand. He's got the Spaniard behind him, also right behind him. Going on to the Grand Prix lap one more time. We're just approaching the 50% mark of this race in about a few minutes' time. 3 minutes time we'll hit the halfway mark. But you're absolutely right, Rob. It's touch and go whether they're going to have to do that 1 extra lap on the fuel. Probably will do, as you just see in the pits. Got a couple of cars very close together.
Oh, he's kind of stuck in the car there. Pit lane collisions are disabled, just in case some people share a pit box, and so they don't have to wait. And you could see Barrier and Kosovek trying to get going at the same time. And I think Barrier kind of lifted off as soon as he saw, oh shit, I'm stuck in the car of Kosovek. So now he's actually left quite a big gap compared to Kosovek.
Yeah.
Down to P13.
A bit close, shall we say, Rob.
That's also close here. Lisasso and Hillebrand.
So these two fighting on, as say Hildebrand's done. It's a repeat of earlier on, isn't it? You know, he's at the front of this train and defending once again. He's done really, really well. He started P11, didn't he? Yeah, on the grid, you know, right back there. You know, we didn't really hold too much hope for him with the greatest respect. You see, well, maybe with a few accidents, you know, he might make up a few places, but it's always been around this sort of podium area. And that Porsche is very, very nimble and very, very good out of some of these slower corners. Like he's going through now with sort of a good speed for Porsche not to gain that understeer. Now get the drive out of these corners as well. Very, very good under traction, which is they've always been famed for. Now board in car with Vinny Vieira here. And getting that power down up the hill here. And a difficult corner here, Rob, as well, because you go over this jump just about where it's almost like a jump over the rise. I think I've got to tap the brakes early enough. You just whack it into that corner, hit the apex nice, and get the power on once again.
And Vera, he will hate that he's behind Lisasso and Hillebrand at the moment. Oh, there's lap traffic. There's Plachter in the KTM. This is gonna be dangerous. Oh, Lisasso almost lost it there. Oh, contact with Plachter, and Plachter's hard into the wall.
Where's he going to rejoin? He's going to cross the track. Oh, just about. He did well, actually. He hit the wall, but he did actually quite well not to rebound into the track. But the KTM's off the circuit of Platter. There goes the Alpina BMW going back past as well. He hasn't lost any places, but might have a bit of damage on that right-hand side of the car. Handling won't be too good now till the next pit stop at least. Hildebrand still in that P3. But things like that, Rob Grant, Nordschleife, you know, it's difficult enough track as it is without the traffic getting in the way as well.
And it kind of looked like Lisasso was getting onto the grass, trying to go side by side then into Schwedenkreuz. with Plachter. He was kind of on the inside. Plachter also had to turn in. It's just one of these situations where Lesars was going to say, okay, I have to get past you at some point. I'm going alongside you. You have to leave me room. And Plachter on the same, at the same time. Wesley Lesars was attacking again. Plachter, of course, also needs to turn into the corner. He would have said, you know, why don't you pick a better place to lap me? Either way, Lesars survived it. But Plachter lost out a lot there and was really lucky to get away without damage.
He ran deep into there, and the Sasso there nearly had the space there to put the nose down the inside of his Mercedes, but didn't get away with it. GT4 cars now coming up the road. They're about to be lapped for the first time with these cars. On board with the Porsche of Mark Heinemann, as they all go, he lets them all through. It's really, really sensible stuff. I like that. Really, really nice. We've got the Barber there. He's going to be the next car up the road. P24 looking back on his car. He's in the Lotus. No, he's in the Porsche. Sorry, he's in the Cayman. He's going to be the next victor of these three cars. And look at, oh, he's in the middle of the road.
Oh, Lesars has been hit by Oliveira there. That's the reverse of the first corner incident. Let's hope that Lesars is getting going again. He does. Well, he's got big damage actually.
Got no front nose, and that is going to be a retirement looks of it as well, which is unfortunate because I thought he got away with that a little bit, but the Sasso there has had the contact and he's had the walk and he's decided enough's enough and I'm going to retire for the day. That's unfortunate, you know, because you know it must have hit for another car because I didn't think he hit the wall that hard.
Let's check with Pachel, because Pachel was behind him. He doesn't seem to have any damage at the front. Maybe Labrava, but
nothing obvious anyway on these
car
cars,
also
is
looks
it?
fine.
There's nothing obvious on the cars. There goes Backer Brew on the GT4 car there as well. Yeah, unfortunate stuff there. Real shame there for the Spaniard. He's done a great effort today. He's always been mixed up there at the front of the field, or the top five of the field. Now it's just gone to pieces a little bit there. Now looking back, taking the gap at the front, Benz Banky got a 30-second lead now with Roskin Novnoski. So big gap there for the Slovenian here today. He's
Slovakian actually.
Slovakian, so I apologise. And so I'm gonna slap for that.
I mean, maybe you can tell me what's the flag in P5. I don't know what that is.
Your guess is as good as mine. But there's one for the chat. There's one for the chat there. If you know what that flag is, I say let me know. I say I have absolutely no idea what that flag is. But geography lessons as well as racing lessons here for me this evening for my first broadcast. I say to the Slovakian there at the front of the field. But yeah, this is a great battle here as well from the Nemchek and Latcher there, 25 here. We're just looking back from his KTM. He's just getting past for another few cars here. The Mercedes is going to be all over the back. Here he makes the move down himself. There's a touch of contact there as he runs onto the grass, but gets out of the way. I think it's more damage to the right hand side of that car now as he the wall potentially gets away with it once again.
Yeah, and I think Plachter really, I mean, he has experienced it once, that if such a collision happens, he's the one who's going to lose out. And I think with three cars in such close proximity, you just have to find a place to let them through, especially if you're quite far back in your class. Of course, I can understand it as well. He's in this race on his own. He's staying on a predictable line. But I think it was always going to happen with these three cars there, that they are going to try to make the lap maneuver as fast as possible. Ooh, that was close.
Again, a difficult part of the track. Again, as the car there in the middle there, looking like we want to get past there. That is Dina there in the car. He's looking all over the back. The BMW. Oh, there's almost contact there as well. You know, it's a Velen there got a back drive out of there. Almost contact as well. They're looking again round this corner once again now. Again, interesting stuff. The power of the BMW and the power of the Corvette. They can be real weapons down here, down the straight.
Very good exit from Weiland. Patrick Bart meanwhile in the pit lane again. Oliveira hasn't managed to get past Hildebrand yet. Let's see here at the end of the straight, that's where the BMW coming to life. Comet kind of staying with it, but not quite fast enough here. Look at the pace of Attila Dina.
That power down, he's already passed. He's already passed him as well. So into the braking zone. It's a good downforce as well. He should be able to hold this braking zone here as well. The Mercedes close up a little bit. BMW's got the line, and Dina, the privateer driver, up into that P7 there as there's a move there for the pits.
Yeah, Weiland coming
there.
in for his second pit stop. Of course, he had to pit early. So this will be his last pit stop in this race.
Makes the move there into the pit lane. Another GT4 car comes out of the pits.
Now Patrick Bart, who was running in second place after his second pit stop.
Let's just see how it all works out in GT4 actually, and the Audis as well. How that all works out. Of course, we've got Kretschmer currently leading that class as well. We've got ahead of Courtois.
Oh, look at this from Oliveira.
Oh, and there's contact there as well. He hit the side of the Porsche that nearly lost it in the Nissan as well. See, there's not a place you want to hit, as you said earlier on in the stream, Rob. The heavy engine of the Porsche, you soon touch that. The Porsche's going to win it most of the time if you give it a light touch, because you can get out of shape, and you are very often the loser in that. So difficult there, but Olivier over there looking quick, like he has done all day. He's just not had the luck really since the start of the race.
And you just mentioned the Audis, and it's very interesting in the Audis. Kretschmer now back into the lead, but only 12 seconds ahead of Courtois, and it certainly looks like Courtois is going for this one-stop strategy here, and Kretschmer certainly has to come in to the pits once again. We will see how that will play out in the end. I think Weiland has been... he's just coming out of the pits now. Behind Ortner again.
At least these two cars can fight over the wooden spoon of not being the last finisher in class for now, at least. P11 and P12 are where these guys are. As we just enter and exit turn 1 and 2 once again. We've got 1 hour and 5 minutes now of racing to go. We're over half distance now, just about. As Olivier there goes around here, the very fast part of the circuit. Obviously got the straight on speed over the Porsche, and he's closing up the back of Hillebrand. Look at the speed he's got there, Rob. This is tremendous stuff.
Once again, very dangerous place to... Oh, look at Hillebrand! Almost lifts off there over the curb. Just about keeps his car in front of Oliveira, and Oliveira, he will hate that. Because if he wants to have a chance at winning a race, first of all, he needs to finish on this set of tires. And then he can't really afford to lose any more time against Hillebrand here in this battle. Because Bunky certainly has clean air at the moment, Nognoski as well.
Look at that, almost side by side through there, but Hillebrand gets the upper hand.
Kremer's ahead, he's been off the road.
As he's gone down a little bit down the... there, he's still in P2 in class though. And, but yeah, he's gone off the road a little bit, but let's them find out. P3 and P4, of course, and Olivier is still fighting on. Now on board at the back of Nicholas Hillebrand here to go through this section of track. We'll get a good look at the front of that Nissan, the white and red Nissan behind us. You know, it's a really, really aggressive looking car, and in the hands of Olivier, he's got plenty of attitude as well. You know, he's been really looking quick all day. A couple of instances there at the start the race, not helping his chances whatsoever. Back at the front, Ben's Banky actually just, well, we'll watch this battle. Banky there, 36 seconds out of Rognoski.
He did an 8:13. That's by far the fastest lap time out of anyone.
Yeah, he's been really, really flying today, hasn't he, old Banky, since he got out in front. He's just almost settled into a rhythm, and once you're in that rhythm, Rob, you know, we've both sim racing in the past, of course, you've at the very top end level as well, Rob. Once you get into that rhythm, you've got clear track around you. It's a very, very nice place to be, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, I think he's really just driving. Doesn't have to think about driving so much now. I feel like he's just doing his thing, doing his laps. He's in the zone, in the tunnel, just lapping as fast as he can. While Oliveira, he just has to watch out against Hillebrand, who's just fighting like a lion here against anyone, really, in the battles. He has a slower car on the straights. Now Oliveira, once again, that's a difficult pass to make here in this section. Especially with Moodkurve coming up and Oliveira probably on the outside line. Maybe he can get ahead before the corner. I think it could be enough now. Yes, it is.
Just got the upper hand, hasn't he, through there? You know, he's brave, but it worked out for Olivier just about. You know, it's a bit of a risky move, but he gets that job done. He's at the P3. Now, if he's going to go ahead with this, you know, not stopping again, Banky we're pretty sure will stop again. Essentially, because, you know, that's a big old gap that he's got there as well. Probably less fuel in that car. Oknoski's interesting if you compare it to Oliviero, because the gap's, what, about 9 seconds?
I think he made a mistake. I think Oknoski lost a lot of time here.
Yeah. Now 44 seconds between himself and Banky now as well. So Banky's got this very comfortably. This moment of time, as we're just about to hit the 1 hour to go mark in a minute or so's time. The order, you know, Banky from Oknoski, from Oliviero, from Hildebrand, from Packer there as well. That's the top 5 at this moment in time. You've got Riedel, Diner, Nemchek, Koshibek and Barrier. We're running at top 10. Ortner and Ryland rounding out the GT3 class. Kretschmer leads the Audi class, ahead of Courtois, Castellanos, Hummel, Wojciech, Chifra. That's the last. I think you have 6
I think
cars.
Junger is still running.
Junger's still running, yeah. He's back there, miles behind he's behind nearly all of the GT4 cars. But he's the 7th runner in that class. And then the GT4 class with Hardwick from Steph Premis in P2. Really good job from him. Bretzel, Barth there in P4. Labarba, Heinemann, Clutcher, and Tony Becker's the last of the 27 runners on the circuit.
Yes, in GT4, I think Hardwick, he's kind of dominating this race, but it's interesting to see how it's going to play out for the 2nd position, because Bart has been in the pits once more compared to the other drivers, but I could imagine that he will actually have to pit one more time in this race. So maybe that puts Kremers and Gretschel within a shot of finishing on the podium here.
Diner has just passed Reader as well for P6, and Reader's made an error, I think.
Oh, he's got the same damage that he had before.
Yeah, what's happened to him here? You know, he's just recently happened as well. So I think he might have hit the wall around one of the right-handers potentially, and whacked the wall. You see the headlights going. He's got rear damage as well. You see the car crabbing over the bumps. I think that's a very, very ill-handling car. Just watching down here, you know, down the straight. I think the car's trying to toe to the left. Yeah, it's been very, very difficult. But you see the headlight's gone. Hopefully,
full rock around
might
this
just
corner.
watch him. Yeah, might just be able to watch the inputs of the car, see how that car's handling.
Oh, Packer has gone past Hildebrand, sorry to interrupt you. They're still going side by side here. Oh no.
Oh, that was so close. Hildebrand's very, very brave. But he's able to defend. He's relentless, isn't he, Rob? You know, he just keeps on going. You know, you think he's lost the battle 100%. He's like, no, I'm going to defend this for my worth. But to be fair to Nicholas, you know, he's been assertive, he's been aggressive. He's not really caused any incidents at all. You know, he's just been frustrating people, but there's no rules against that. He's been really, really assertive in his defense.
Yeah, and it's also that his car is really different to the other cars here in the race. Most of the other drivers have chosen a power car, which is bad under braking, and I think the Alpina is a very extreme example of that. And Hildebrand can just brake so much later than the other drivers, so he knew as long as he can somehow stay alongside Pache, he's going to have the position. And that could be one more full lap before Pache can really even set an attempt.
You got Oliviero as well, up the road from these guys as well. Start at P3, back P4 though. Raging on, and Hildebrand has been in the thick of the action here for a lot of this race. You know, he's barely had a moment's rest, you know, in this race. But here he goes through the Grand Prix lap once again. It's been real mixed up here. On board now with Patrick Packer there at the moment, P5. And you can see the other 2 cars ahead of him, of course. Gets plenty of curve on that left-hand side, trying to line himself up here for the right-hander. The Porsche will get good grip out of here as well, but it looks like he's got a pretty good run actually here, Rob, down the straight. You know, he's just about, if he can position himself right, he can get them potentially a move. There he goes.
He had to lift
Porsche
off
taking
though.
defensive line, yeah.
Hildebrand very good at defending. Maybe same move as Oliveira did from Woodcore. It could be a possibility. We'll find out later on the lap.
Yeah, it's just settling in for another lap of the Nordschleife once again. back at the in the class here, P2 at the moment is your Courtois, and then we see the gap there as well. So 27 seconds covers the leading P1 and P2 in that class. You know, and then behind him we got about 3 seconds back. You got Debelianos there as well. This battle here as well, that could get a bit spicy in the next few moments' time as well. But again, they're just sort of bit spread out at the moment in this class. I think there's only 7 runners now, which is a bit unfortunate. But there's no real close action there. But of course, still pit stops to happen. Still very, very difficult. One battle is going on actually. It's battle for P24, the Barca and Plaksha here, the KTM. Good handling car, of course. He's got the headlights ablaze now as you go on board with the KTM. Goes into the hairpin one more time. Now I'm going to see the strength now of the KTM through these corners.
So much earlier on the power. Costa Brava also missed the corner a bit. But it's just so difficult to find a way to overtake a Cayman in this category. Oh, that's either Bunky or Riedel. I think it's Riedel coming out of the pits again. And that could be the move done for Plachter. Let's see. Oh, Ortner as well.
Oh, and that's just split them up a little bit, hasn't it? You know, Ortner passing these cars, and the KTM's got the move done. A great little move, really. Obviously, the Cayman was a little bit held up there, but the KTM's got the move done. Of course, down the straight, you're going to see that Porsche get right in the mirrors of that KTM as we go into the chicane. Go through there now. Can the KTM pull the gap a little bit? Well, he gets on the power so much earlier. You can see there, Rob. There goes another one of the GT3 cars making their way through. Can't quite see. It's one of the Mercedes.
Just have to jump to Pacher. I'm sorry. Pacher finally made the move. Stick against Hillebrand. Gets a little tap at the rear. That's a surprising section to make the overtake. Nice job by Patrick Pacher up into P4.
Pacher's been really good today, hasn't he? You know, he's yeah, not the best of qualifying performances, but in the race, that Alpine has been really, really strong. You know, he's been assertive as well, but not really, you know, just taking the opportunities what's there. You know, the Alpine is probably in a stronger car than what a lot of people have expected. And really nice there as well.
Hillebrand almost fought back there. Thought he would maybe dive into this corner with the better brakes on the Porsche.
He's out there really nicely there as well. We're going to go into the left-hander coming up. More time, and the brakes down to here. Very difficult braking zone there sometimes because it's important to get the run out. The Porsche's got a pretty handy run out of there, and as we've seen earlier, Rob, the low drag on that Porsche can mean getting right behind BMW potentially here as well.
Yeah, I think now it starts to catch up a little bit. Hillebrand really has to think now. Completely different corner entry speed here. Completely different braking point compared to when he's driving on his own into this corner. He's arriving so much quicker. Oh, that was a great corner. Gained a lot of time there on Pacher. Oh, what's Pacher doing?
He's just weaving around the track, isn't he? Trying to break the toe, but it made himself look a bit silly there, really, Pacher, in all honesty.
How can you even weave that quickly?
Not sure, probably just a off-putting method there for Hillebrand. Not something that I'm really appreciative of. I don't really like that move there, but you know, it's definitely worked. Here comes the traction of the Porsche off of this corner. Now the BMW, yeah, doing a pretty good exit out there actually. Hillebrand, as long as he keeps in the toe over the Alpina ahead, I think when we get down to that back straight, you know, seeing how good the slipstream effect is on this car, could be looking for a move at the end of the towards the end of the lap.
And Spunky meanwhile has set an 8:12. So once again found some pace. Oh, Courtois. Sorry to interrupt you there, but Courtois has been off in the Hohenrhein-Schikane. And that's big news because he was fighting for the win on different strategies compared to Kretschmer, but now he dropped behind Castellanos.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm not sure he got any damage. He definitely lost out there. Maybe he was letting one of the GT3 cars pass through there. It's lost out, Courtois, on potentially a race victory here today on a different strategy. There he is going into turn one once again. So rejoins there and just getting back to that river. And that's the thing, Ron. You have an incident like that. How quickly can you get back into that river and that momentum you had before? Because very easy when you make one mistake, like I'm used to doing. So you make one mistake, it's so easy to make another and then just ruin your race completely.
And we've seen it a few times with Courtois in other competitions. And it just happens to him ever so often that he just makes these, has these lapses of concentration at some point in the race. And it's a shame because he was in a really good position to potentially take his first victory here. Now it's all looking a little bit more in the favor of Daniel Kretschmer, or even maybe Castellanos, if Kretschmer actually has to pit more than Castellanos and Courtois do.
Yeah, so here we go once again. So looking through the order, we still have 26 runners as well. Peter Younger has retired from this race. There's 6 cars left in that class with the Audi TTs. To remind you that Ben Speck is leading the class in GT3 by 38 seconds as well. Kretschmer's leading Castellanos there as well by about 40 seconds now. He's really bolted up on the road since Courtois had his incident. And Oscar Hardwick leading GT4 by a staggering 86 seconds. Death premise for Hardwick now. It's just a case of, that's a long way to go of course, but it's a case at the moment of just cruising it home.
Yeah, but we've already seen Hardwick around in the beginning of the race. And of course, he will get lapped more often than any other driver in this field.
I think Gabor Chifra has retired as well, but looks
I think he's just...
no, he's in the pits. Sorry,
yeah,
apologies.
he's just pitting, but he's been in the pits very often in this race already, going for a completely different strategy compared to Courtois and Castellanos.
Another car in the pits there as well. Struggling to see who that is. That might be Peter Younger's car actually. P27 just parked in there as well. We're back on board with Castellanos. He has got behind him. Jan Courtois still 6/10 behind him at the moment. Getting up through this first section off the North Shaft once again. And these front wheel drive cars will take a beating, particularly the front tyres of course around here, but it does look like quite a bit more fun than what probably a lot of viewers probably think it is.
Yes, it's also quite challenging because you always have to watch out how you brake in these cars. The WTCR cars are probably even a bigger challenge. Ooh, that was interesting. I haven't really driven these TTs so often, but I have driven the WTCR cars on the Nordschleife. And you have to be so careful that you always brake in a straight line and that you can steer a little bit with the loose rear in these cars because you have a lot of lift of oversteer. And especially in the fast corners, you can really stabilize the car with going on the throttle. It's a completely different task compared to driving a rear-wheel drive car. And I think at least in some corners, like Schwedenkreuz, like the corner at the end of Hatzenbach, it's actually more challenging to get a front-wheel drive car around the track. And we've seen Courtois off in the Hohenrhein chicane, the final chicane on the track. That's also one of these crucial points where you always have trouble keeping a front-wheel drive car on the road.
And for any of those who are watching at home, who are watching this and thinking, well, I've been thinking about getting RaceRoom, you see it on Steam and you can, I believe you can try it for free, can't you, Rob?
Yeah,
you have to pay for a lot of the cars, but I believe you can test drive a lot of these cars, can't you, Rob?
Exactly, so all of the cars that are racing here, you can test drive them for free on the RaceRoom Raceway. So if you just want to say, how about this Corvette here, for example, I would like to try it out. Well, you can, it doesn't cost you anything. The game is a free download and then you can get the car, and we also have the summer sale running at the moment. So if you want to get in on RaceRoom, you can get everything at a discount. And there's also the premium pack available, for example, where you can get all cars and all tracks at once.
So you think you're going to be sim racing at RaceRoom for a long time? Maybe you want to get involved in these big official events, or maybe the real life events where I know Wiesenmüller organises a lot of the top events there as well, where drivers meet up for proper competitions for prize money as well. That all happens here at RaceRoom here as well, and it's happened the last few years, and some of the top sim racers worldwide has turned up and taken away some big prizes as well in the past. So if you feel like you can get involved, just check out RaceRoom on Steam, do a free download, get your wheel out, get your pedals out, give it a try and see if you like the feel of the cars as well. If you do so, obviously Steam sale now perfect time to buy all the latest content as well. So good opportunity for you guys at home. So
Yeah, Courtois, meanwhile, has gone past Castellanos. So he has recovered rather nicely. A little bit of curb there from Castellanos.
definitely looking the quicker of the two drivers, but I think Castellanos is probably a more consistent one as well at this moment in time. Everyone going well. I just think P25 is in the pits. I think the Barber's pitted in the GT4 car. There he is in the Cayman.
Yeah, we've actually got 3 close battles on track now as well. Dina ahead of Nemček. Then Courtois and Castellanos, of course. And we just saw it briefly. Kremers has been in the pit lane as well. He's been passed by Plachter.
That's that. KTM is actually looking really strong, actually, now. P3 in class. You know, he's about 20 seconds behind Patrick Bart, who was leading the race earlier on, of course, but looking really good. But here we are for that battle. P6, we have Dina with Nemček in the Corvette. 7 tenths behind him as well. These two are looking really, really close as well. Obviously, driving in different parts of the circuit. The Corvette runs wide, actually, there from Nemček. So the BMW on board now with the Callaway Corvette as well, up the laying down the power as well. Good to see the Corvette actually running well, actually, 'cause it's a car that I didn't really expect to do too well around here, Rob, but putting in a pretty decent performance. You got Nemček in 7th there as well. We did have, obviously, Koshibek running. He's actually P8 as well. He's about 40 seconds behind these guys, but actually a really solid performance.
Of course, everyone who watched the ADAC GT Masters Championship will remember this Corvette because plenty of drivers used it there. But on the Nordschleife, it has never really worked as well as on other tracks. Nemček showing here that it's still pretty decent around here, keeping up with Attila Dina, who was of course part of the Avia competition a couple of months ago where everyone drove in a BMW. So once again, he picked the BMW for this race.
Yeah, say the competition obviously very, very popular as well, and I see a lot more competitions coming up in the next few months. Next sort of 12 months, we're looking to see a lot more teams and drivers competing as well as obviously esports getting bigger and bigger. As we see the Dina there, slightly onto the grass there, but so recovers it nicely. You can see Apex as well, brakes well, and gets a good exit there out of the corner as well as they get into carousel one more time. Other real battles on the circuit. I think we just seen P9. See P9 just pits? Remember, just some flash on my screen. Eunice Reed. No, I think he's all okay.
He's still out.
Yeah, he's still going on the circuit. I just thought might have been a little bit of a issue there, but still going nonetheless. That's the Barrier's DNF.
Oh,
that's what I've seen on my screen.
That's a shame.
It's looking good in the Porsche. It's out of this race as well with 44 minutes now.
Oh, and that's the leader. That's the leader of the Audi class, Kretschmer, in for his, I think, 2nd pit stop.
Now where he comes out, Courtois just going across the start-finish line again. Here he comes, and he looks like to retake the lead of the class. Don't think Kretschmer's going to come out, but I think Courtois got another stop to do, at least one more stop.
I mean, that's the question. Courtois stretches first and really, really long. So it all depends on if he has to pit again or not.
Only he will know for sure. As Castellanos also to P2 is a bit of a dark horse in that class. As Kretschmer now rejoins the track, he's going to come out in 3rd in class comfortably, so that's fine for now. 25 runners still going around, so 11 in the GT3s, we've got 6 of them in the Audis, and we have got 8 of them in the GT4 class, with Heinemann being the last of runners in P25. So, yeah, a good. I didn't think there'd be this many cars still going, so you know it's been a really strong effort. We have a 32 car start or 33 car start the race. You know, we've been going.
Oh, there's been a huge crash. Plachter and Kremers. And they're blocking the road at the moment. I think it's damage for Kremers. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, Kremers
bump
got
on
to
this
have
thing.
to pit, unfortunately, there. Oh, this is the battle for P3 in class. Kremers and Plachter I think what may have happened, and I could be wrong, I think Kremer was probably going pretty fast that part of the circuit, probably trying to make a move potentially. But obviously we don't know because we haven't seen it. That's what I'm going to predict happened there. Probably moved down the inside, which didn't quite work, and I think Kremer's hit the wall, and then the KTM has just spun around.
Definitely big speed difference between the two cars. So it can always happen quite easily if there's an accident because they've got completely different braking points. Either way, that's probably Kremer's chances of a podium gone. Despite the fact that he's still running in third.
Yeah, we got Platscher, Gritschel, and Beckers. They're all quite
close. And Heinemann, what happened to Heinemann?
Just stopped. Nope, he's still going. I think Hildebrand's had a problem as well.
He's just pitting.
P7. Yeah, Hildebrand's pitted. Sorry about that. But Heinemann's had a stop. So we'll see where Hildebrand comes out. This will be his last stop of the race. Now we'll check there. He's in P6, so it's cost a bit in a jump. Hildebrand pits. Be pretty close, I think.
That is so loud, by the way.
It always makes for a good show, though, doesn't it? If you're a spectator in real life as well, it always makes for a good show if you're out in the real racetracks as well. It looks like that Hildebrand's just come out there. He is P8. We're well ahead of Rido actually, but Kosvek just up the road from him. Still got Nemchek and Dina there fighting in P5.
Looks like Dina survived the Grand Prix circuit. Well, not quite. I thought they were even further ahead, so he hasn't quite survived the Grand Prix circuit. I mean, the Grand Prix circuit is where the biggest speed difference is between the Corvette and the BMW Corvette. Definitely faster around the Grand Prix circuit. You can see it here. Let's see if Nemchek will get an opportunity.
Oh, and he runs a bit wide there. He's going to the defensive line early there. It's Dina here. He brakes very, very late, actually. There we go.
Oh, he's braked too late.
He misses the apex, just about gets away with it. But I think the Corvette does definitely for the smooth tarmac, doesn't it? It gets onto the Nordschleife now, and it's a bit more bumpy, isn't it? It's a bit more predictable for the Corvette. It doesn't really have that suspension travel, does it? It's a very low car, the Corvette, so probably struggles now on this bumpier surface.
These two, of course, the closest battle at the moment. Not very close at the moment in the GT4 category. Oscar Hardwick is still leading the race. Over 1 minute ahead of Patrick Bart.
Yep, that's a big gap there, but in the Audi class, it's only 3 seconds between Courtois and Castellanos at the front, and GT3 Banky and obviously 36 seconds there as well. But Bath hoping to close that gap. Maybe Hardwick will have to pit, and Bart may close the gap a little bit more. But Courtois there, 2.5 seconds now, the gap between those two cars. They're unfortunate. And I'm just reading on the chat with Valentin Barrier. He lost the car after the bridge, so unfortunate incident there for Valentin Barrier. We hope to see you again once again, as well as all the other drivers who've taken part in the free service. I hope you come back and race again. Not only in this type of series, but other types of series in the future as well.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of races coming up. Of course, the big esports competition, Super Racers, already running. Esports WTCR, you have to stay tuned. Something will happen there. And I think it's very likely that we will see a similar event at Spa at some point in this year. One of these special events where anyone who enters the leaderboard will also be able to get a race. Might not be in the server 1, of course, that is live stream, but also server 2 and server 3 running at the moment. And we can host a 4th server as well, if there is enough interest at the next event.
Yeah, always exciting stuff here going on at RaceRoom, and this is my first ever RaceRoom broadcast actually, and it's been really, really good to watch and be a part of, so I say really thank the opportunity as Steph Kremis now has pitted, as well as the KTM cars. Both of those cars have been affected. The main beneficiary could be here, Tony Beckers. He's going to go up 2 places here.
Oh, it's also coming to the pits.
Oh, but hopefully, probably not for damage. So he should still jump these 2 cars, because the other 2 cars would have had to repair. I imagine so, at least. On the circuit, Le Barber's about 40 seconds behind this. So he's got a bit of a way to go before he catches up to these cars. Heinemann as well, we're a lot further back. But interesting battle in the pits. See who comes out first. I think Platch is going to reach on ahead of Kremitz, because Kremitz definitely lost the front bumper of that car.
They are all still stationary at the moment. We'll jump to them as soon as one of them gets going again. Oh, and there's Tremors. It's Tremors who's the first one. That's a surprise.
That car repaired pretty quickly, actually. That's not a bad effort at all. Now, he rejoins in P4. Now, he's a long way back, though, from Gretschel. About a minute behind, so it's going to be a big old job to get that gap. Obviously, unless there's a pit stop or something else happens to the cars in front of him.
And Labava has jumped Plachter indeed. Oh, sorry to interrupt once again, but Nemchek is super close now to Dina.
He is, and he's looking very, very wily, you know. He's sniffing all over the back of that BMW rear wing. Well, he's a bit too far back, I think, to make a move or an attempt. There he goes, yeah, the BMW makes that apex nicely there. Through the corner there, but interesting how this race is developing now. 36 minutes to go here at the Nordschleife, so probably you're looking at around about the leaders, about 4 laps or so, maybe 5.
And of course, oh, Plachter has been around again. It's going from bad to worse for the KTM driver.
In
Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah, it looks like he just spun coming out with the head and probably put a pad on a little bit too hard, too soon, and spun away the chance there of gaining a nice position at the end. So interesting to see how this all works out. All the drivers in the class. It looks like Hardwick's still very comfortable at the front. But here's the battle for P7. We've got Koshibek there. He's just got Hillebrand behind him again. Once again, Hillebrand in the action, trying to pass, getting real close up behind another car. This time it's Stefan Koshibek.
Hillebrand has the fresh tires. Hillebrand also definitely does not have to pit again. Not sure about Kosovac if he will have to pit again, but certainly looks like Hillebrand has the faster car at the moment.
Yeah, I think the Porsche is more suited as the Corvette gets a little bit wide. I think Kosovac really hanging that car out, trying to defend this position. Porsche looking, he's all over the back. Of course, the braking as well on the Porsche is a lot better, a lot nicer than the on the Porsche than the Corvette. As he went a little bit wide, Porsche's got to run down the inside. Prospect not defending too hard, and he makes that position through. So Hillebrand back up to P7 as well. Porsche, I think in the race,
pits.
In the pits.
And I think that's Castellanos as well.
Interesting stuff from the leaders of both good classes. But here goes Ognoski, bits in as well. Nice. Yeah, the car looked fine actually. I thought it was a bit damaged. Oliviero is going to retake the lead by the looks of it, at least provisionally. With 34 minutes to go here, or about 4 laps for these 3 cars. Aka's going to be in P2 in the green machine. That is the Albina BMW. He goes into the first couple of corners once again. Here we go, back down here, and Nemchuk here. Trying to get slipstream off the BMW, but the BMW itself has got another slipstream off the Audi. The Audi's wide out of the way.
Oh, that was close.
Goodness me, that was awfully close to a dangerous rejoin into the back of the side of the Corvette. But here comes back. He's going to rejoin the race. There's Ognoski's car.
Yeah, he's just changing tires now, so they refueled until this point.
Yep. Just when Nemchuk's going to pass Ognoski, of course. Now we're board from Nemchuk now. They're going to both past the Canadian. Turn 1 once again, the BMW holding that position pretty well. Missed the apex a little bit there. Nemchuk, is he going to get the better drive and the corner? No, the BMW holds the position really, really well. Ognoski is going to just leave. He's just left the pits. He's going to come out ahead of well ahead of Hillebrand. Actually, 15 seconds. The gap there between those 2 cars. Still nice and close between Hillebrand and Koshibek. Currently, what we're currently watching at the moment, the Nemchuk battle, is the closest on the circuit. About half a second between the 2 cars at the moment.
And now the situation, of course, is very interesting at the front of the field. Does Oliveira have to come in again or not? I would think if Oliveira pits again, he will do it very late, and he will only refuel. He won't change tires, because I think he will lose too much time if he does that. Kosovac, meanwhile, into the pits as well. Same story for Pache, really. Pache and Oliveira pretty much on the same strategy. I think that Oliveira did one more lap earlier on. So if anyone's going to go the full distance now, it's going to be Oliveira. Then, of course, Bunky, it's a pretty large gap. It's 39 seconds to Pache alone, so I don't think he can really close that gap, you know, based on his lap times, even though he's faster than Oliveira at the moment. So it all depends on if Oliveira and Pache have to come to the pits once more or not. Otherwise, Benz Bunky is looking like the likely winner of this race.
There goes Oliveira once again, going down straight again. But yeah, it depends, as you rightly say, it depends on the pit stops. But of course, the longer that Oliveira goes on, I don't know, fuel takes a lot of the pit stop here, of course. It has to take less fuel at the end, so potentially a shorter pit stop for fuel. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to come out ahead of Banky, of course, I'm not saying that at all.
I think he pitted with like 1 minute 16 to go. 1 hour 16 minutes to go. So, I mean, that's pretty close to half distance already. So if he comes into the pits now, he maybe has to pit for, I don't know, 20 liters or so compared to 120. So his pit stop will be significantly faster if he has to pit again. I'm just wondering if, you know, that could really get close in the end.
It can do. So it's, I think for Oliveira, it's probably, you might have to save a bit of fuel if he can. Which will be difficult, easier said than done, of course. Depends on how much fuel is left in that car, but he's still leading this race provisionally ahead of Pache, Banky, and the rest of them behind as well. Dina and Nemchek still raging on. Just going back into the Audi. Courtois still leads the class by 30 seconds over Kretschmer. Kretschmer's recently pitted. And Oscar Hartwig leading the GT4 class by 82 seconds ahead of Patrick Bart. The rest of there in third, Step Kremers in fourth in that class, but that class very widely spread. Apart from the battle round between P5, the Barber and Platcher. Very, very close.
That was already interesting again. It's, you know, it's hard to be in Platcher's shoes here. His car is so much better in the corners compared to the Cayman, but he just can't really pass because it's so slow on the straights.
Yeah, very, very tricky. So if Platcher gets past, you know, as soon as he gets out of that straight, I mean the Cayman's so much faster in straight lines, like chalk and cheese these cars completely. You know, the KTM, look at how all over the back of the Porsche ahead of him. Very, very difficult, and flashing the lights as well, trying to get past it. Move out my way, I'm in a hurry. Come on, let's move a bit quicker up this up the hill here. Let's go. There's Marco Placa here. Down there, but you just see the Porsche, they're pulling away. It's just getting power down the hill. Oh, look at the KTM, just getting a great run out of there, actually. They're just like brilliant high-speed cornering of this car, really gains momentum. Is he going to try and move around the outside of here? Very unlikely, it's a very difficult section, but KTM's going to be all over the back of the Porsche once again as we move into the mini carousel here, Will.
Yeah, but I think as soon as they hit Döttinger Höhe, just see how much faster that Cayman really is. But at this point, it doesn't really make so much sense for Plachter to even try a move. He needs to get him earlier, and then... Oh!
Wow. Oh, just hit the ground. I tell you what, if he'd have pulled that move off there, that would have been absolutely brilliant. In a way, but
oh no, they make contact!
Oh, contact between the KTM and the Porsche. And we're going to see a car coming through the dash there. That's another car. That is Tony moving through, getting a couple of positions there as a result. And Tony Becker's there. Claims that position. I don't know where Barber is at the moment, but that was very, very unfortunate. We're just looking at Jonas Riedel once again in P8, but there we are, Rob. For the KTM, I can understand why he kept it flat, but I could see the Porsche was coming slow off that corner. He should have just lifted off maybe a little bit earlier to avoid that incident.
Yeah, it's just crazy, the speed difference there between the cars. And I don't think Plachter was really expecting it at all, that he's lifting so much there at this place. Just went straight into the back of him, and he's been around a few times now in the KTM. Maybe next time he'll try. in another car. And Nemček, he will be sick of this BMW from Attila Dina. Chasing it for a long time now.
Yeah, it's been a difficult one here for Nemček. You know, he's just been for a long time since the pit stop. He's been following that BMW. Probably can read every letter on the back of that BMW as well. Probably every single decal on the back of that car, you know, in the future, because he's been studying it for the last good half an hour or so. BMW gets a good run out of there. Gets the Apex nicely as well, but the Corvette, I thought the Corvette would have gained on the straights, but the BMW so much power, of course, as well. It's a very difficult car to pass, no matter what the car is.
Yeah, I think in the Corvettes they're a bit different, and so the newer Corvette is a lot better on typical racetracks. Got very good handling actually. It's got a lot of power, but it's not really a power car anymore. The old Corvette is still the typical power car that just goes straight and nothing else. But this car is actually very well balanced, but the Nordschleife is just kind of in favor of fast corners and long straights, so I think Labava and Beckers are now changing positions. Just have a short look there before we go back on the Göttinger Höhe to Nemček and Dina. Yes, indeed. Bava just ahead of Beckers. Oh, it looks like he's going to lose the position again.
Beckers got a great run out of that, didn't he? You know, right in that corner, and looks like he got the move done and dusted into P21 overall and P5 in class. Next up the road for him is Steph Curran.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you once again, but Oliveira pitting once again indeed. Let's see how much he has to refuel now.
25 minutes to go. You're probably looking at 3 laps of fuel, I reckon, because it's about just over 8 minutes. Well, actually, no, I'll tell a lie. 4 laps of fuel to be safe. The mass was correct there, but here's Nemček again, and they've got the BMW weaving down straight once again. Down towards the chicane again, and the very difficult braking zone. Of course, very easy. Just get a bit ambitious and get it wrong. If the BMW wiggling under brakes there, get the car stopped. Trying to get the run out of the corner, but Ben's Banky here will move up to P2.
He's past Oliveira. He's still stationary. Let's see if Oliveira's gonna come out anywhere near Dina and Nemček. But looks like both of them are gonna jump him as well. So the strategy from Oliveira really hasn't worked.
No, it hasn't at all. I mean, obviously, be on the fresh road now, but here comes Ognoski as well.
Oliveira's going again.
Are you going to get ahead?
I think Ognoski's ahead.
He is, just about. Here
that was a long pit stop.
Very long pit stop. I mean, for me, I could be wrong. Did he just fill up like a normal stop there? You know, it's almost like he maybe overfilled the car.
Yeah, maybe. Probably changed tires as well, which I don't think is necessary if he's trying this strategy, if he wants to have any shot at winning the race. Now it looks like maybe he can close the gap to Ognoski. Maybe the cars around him have to pit again. We have to jump back to the GT4s though, because Plachta and Labava side by side once again. Plachta next to the road once again. And there's Beckers behind them.
As we hit the 2-hour mark now, 24 minutes to go in this race, and we've got the 3 GT4s still scrapping away like it's the first lap here. Once again, this is about for P21 and 5th in class, 5th, 6th and 7th. And of course, here's the Porsche now against the KTM. The KTM, again, a great run out the corner. But Porsche, as soon as it gets into this sort of stage of the power, look at that, it just pulls away once again. And KTM's going to be get a great run out here. Look at that, closest right up.
Once again to the back of him. Now he should really know the differences in the mid corners between these two cars.
It's all about planning, isn't it, Rob? Planning your next move and not just sort of go for every move that's possible. You know, that could potentially open up. You know, it's a better strategy to see which corners are you best at. You know, and a corner like that, to be fair, the KTM's really really good at. The move is never really on that moment in time. But again, through that corner, the KTM again, really really good handling. But now the power of the Porsche, potentially in a couple of moments' time. Let's see if we go braking there again. KTM closer once again. Power of the Porsche will get it away from that corner and grab a little bit of a gap. Three again scrapping really really hard as the Tony Beckers there close up to the back of the KTM, really really hard as we're right now on board with Tony Beckers, German driver, It's a bit squiggly out of there. The KTM gets a great run out of there. Like, all over the back. Can't really see too well from here, but it looks like he's pretty close, or fairly close to the back of the Cayman ahead. If you brake the corner, KTM gets some great speed, gets some power very, very early, and close to the gap to the Cayman ahead of him. Becker's just taking a watching distance for now.
I think now we can see Labarba pulling away once again, and then once we arrive at the mood curve, he will lose all that time again. Oh, I think he had to lift off early there. That's unusual that Plachta is gaining so much here. Is he letting him go?
Well, side by side and rubbing paint as well through that section, but KTM gets past. You could
Maybe
be right
brakes
there,
were stuck on. It looks like the brake slides were just glowing on the Porsche there from Labarba, but that's very unusual.
Through the section, looks like he's got that problem sorted. He pulls away from the Lotus, so 3 different cars in the class, all welded together with 2 hours gone here. 21 minutes to go now. Getting really, really to the gritty, nitty end of this race, as we got a Lotus in the pits of Oscar Hardwick.
Bart's still a long time back though. I think it should work out for Hardwick to come out ahead of him. Got an interesting situation here in the classes. Pache leading ahead of Bunky, but Pache with 1 less pit stop. Same in the Audis between Courtois and Kretschmer.
The gap between Hardwick and Buck was about 82 seconds as well. Hardwick's now leaving the pits with 20 minutes to go here. It's looking like a comfortable win for Oscar Hardwick here, if he can keep that road on the island. You know, we saw him spin earlier on, lose a lot of time. He got back going again. Now he's got some nice clear track ahead of him. Gap between those two, you're looking at 22 seconds. And here's that battle between Beckers as well. Beckers and Labata still going on. Back for P22, it looks like the KTM has just moved up the road, which is important for him because this is the fiddly twiddly bit of the circuit, and he's cleared up the road. Look at that, just going around the little chicane, the left-hander now.
And I think Bart's is in the pits as well, so Hardwick might actually get this race win with over a minute of a gap. That's very interesting.
And Bart has to watch out because you've got Dirk Gretschel there as well, and he's closing up as well. He's going to come up towards the chicane, final chicane about now, and going to go across the start-finish line. Now, where is he going to come out? Reference to Patrick Barth. Here he goes, down the straight again. I think Bart's still in his pit box. Gretschel here could end up P2 in his hands. He does. He goes, and Barth now just leaving his pit box now, so he gains that position. And looking back at this battle between Labarba and Tony Beckers.
Oh, Labarba almost lost it there in the small carousel. Beckers now has the inside, should be the position gained, but now the long straight is coming up. Let's see if Labarba's car is still really working on the straights or if he's having any problems. Because he should be able to close the gap to the KTM easily.
Yeah, the gap should close down probably about a couple of seconds to the KTM. The Lotus is now, obviously, Lotus is now the car the Porsche is targeting of Labarba. And he's in the slipstream, he's closing. Definitely closing up on the back of the Lotus. Going to pull out nicely. Lotus not really defending, there's not much point, there's so much an overspeed in that car, isn't there? And he's really motoring on. Back straight, and even in the slipstream, the Lotus have absolutely no chance. Closing up the back of that Porsche because it's got so much momentum in the Absolute Motorsport. Absolute Motorsports, Domenico Labarba. It's the move up to P22. Next target for him now is the KTM. A couple of seconds up the road for Labarba now. About 4 seconds, so it's going to be difficult. But have to keep his hopes up.
So maybe a good opportunity for us to check with the leader, Patrick Pache. PAC Virtual Racing in the lead of the race here, ahead of Ben's Bunky. 33 seconds. Bunky lapping a bit quicker at the moment than Pache, but we all think that Pache has to come into the pits once more. Let's see if he will also have such a long pit stop as Vinny Oliveira had, or if it will go a little bit quicker.
It looks like to me my calculations say 3 laps to go, if Packer keeps going, which he does. So 3 laps to go here. Can Packer keep this going? Can he keep this going to the end of this race? It's going to be difficult. You think he has to stop again, but 3 laps to go. Is it really worth it? It depends how much.
Yeah, I think
actually right there.
as it won't be worth it. If he can go to the end with his fuel, then he will. But I feel like he has to because he pitted quite early.
Look at this now slipstream battle here once again. Ognoski now joining the battle between Nemček and the BMW ahead of Dina. Going to go into the braking zone once again. They're all nicely spread out actually, so not too much battling so far. Go out of the right left chicane and finishing another lap. Down to 3 laps to go as they cross the line. We've got Nemček actually getting quite close now to the back of the BMW.
Oh, he braked early. Ognoski with a surprise.
Nice move there. That's opportunistic. Now that's what Ognoski's really famed for. Obviously, real racing driver from real life, the Canadian, and he's taken that opportunity with both hands. That was very, very smart. I know he tried that move earlier on in the race. And look at that.
He's
Yeah,
not
again,
wasting any time.
Another move. Can he get it around the outside? He's going to get the power out of that now. It's just a track race now between the Mercedes and the BMW. We know the BMW's quick in a straight line, but the Mercedes looks like he's got it. Ognoski, obviously using his real racing experience, had a great effect there up to that podium position.
But which step of the podium will be in the end? Is he going to have a chance against Patrick Pacher? Because either way, if Pacher has to pit or not, it won't be a long pit stop. And the same story can be said in the Audi category, where Jan Courtois is still leading the race, but also on very worn tires, leading the race ahead of Daniel Kretschmer.
As we look on here for Kretschmer now, P12 overall, but 28 seconds behind the leader, Jan Courtois. 15 minutes to go. Going to be difficult, really, to hold on to that. Oscar Ardwick, of course, still leading his class by 82 seconds ahead of his nearest rival. There he is, Dirk Gretschel. A big gap there as well, and his, I say, closest gap actually, I think got Patrick Barth. That might actually be a battle that might happen in the last couple of laps. 6 seconds between second and third in that class. And you obviously got the battle between Beckers and the Barber. That's only a couple of seconds between them two. In the Audi class, pretty much settled. Closest battle there's Huguet, who we haven't seen for a while, and Daniel Hummer. That gap's 12 seconds. Nothing really happening in that class. As it stands, it looks like this battle for GT3 between 4th and 5th. The battle that we're going to be really watching out for.
Yeah, and I think Nemček, he is really thinking, looks so easy when Ognoski did it. Why can't I go past Dina?
Yeah, it reminds me of almost like some of you might have heard the story between John Watson and Nicky Lauda when they both were McLaren, when Watson just come up to the both I think 3 drivers and passed them all. And his teammate Nicky Lauda was stuck behind 2 drivers, and then he found a way past. When he saw his teammate do it, so very unlucky. Just a bit up the road actually behind this, you got Oliviero, who's about 4 seconds behind these 2 cars. Yeah. He's close enough as well at the rate of knots.
Oliveira has much better tires, of course, than Dina and Nemček. Also don't really know if Dina or Nemček has to pit again, but it's getting more and more unlikely.
I think the way that Oliviera is going on the track as well, he's been closing up these guys. Maybe by the end of the lap, potentially. We'll soon see the gaps have about 3 seconds, but he's really motoring on at the back of these 2 cars on these fresh tyres. Goes out of that left-right there. Once again, the power on earlier. This fresh rubber is going to really make a big difference here. They can already see the cars ahead. Nemček's going to see Oliviera in the mirror as well, if he's not, unless he's got his eye glued onto the back of that BMW. Here we go through the chicane once again, the left there. Going to get the grip on. Power on nice and early. Well, the weakness of the Nissan, of course, is acceleration, but the grip through the corners is going to still really benefit the Brazilian. And now he's going to this back end of the circuit, through the left, through the right. Get on the power. And here comes the braking zone once again. Of course, these 2 holding each other up a little bit. Means Oliveira can just put the magnets on. Get on the braking zone here for this corner here, and you can see how much visibly in the last minute or so how much Oliveira's caught up to the back of these two.
Bit of a mistake there on the grass for Oliveira. He's got no pressure from behind. Over 20-second gap to Hillebrand, and then it's almost a minute to Georg Ortner, who recovered nicely into 8th position.
3 cars going to get closer and closer. But the Corvette's dropped back a little bit from the back of the BMW, but we're going to see now through here as the Corvette runs a little bit wide actually, recovers it well though. Now the power on this out. Let's see what Oliveira is going to do here. We've got a slow car ahead as well, haven't we? A GT4 car, I think, the looks of it. Have a look as we go down this back section. And the slower car ahead. Where's he going to... This looks like he's down the left-hand side of the circuit. Ooh, difficult.
That's Courtois, that's the leader. Oh, he's going for it here.
Oh, wow. Look at that for opportunism. That is a brilliant bit of opportunism there from Vinny Oliveira. He stuck it down the inside. Book it, down the inside. And takes the place lovely there from Vinny Oliveira. He's now up to that 5th place. With Dina now, the next car ahead of him in the BMW. Now, is he going to show, also show Hamlin, how it's done, I wonder?
I think he will have a very good opportunity at the Döttinger Höhe. Just checking on Patrick Pache on his track position to see how many laps there are going to be. Is the next lap going to be the last lap? And is he really going to make it work with this car, with these old tires, with this fuel level?
I think you can see. So we've got 10 minutes to go in this race. 10.5 minutes now to go into remaining. Now it's going to take that minute or so to get down that back straight. I think it's going to be 2 laps left to go after the, after pick this one just about. It's going to be touch and go really.
Oliveira is impatient here.
Gathering every move at the back of that BMW. And there's they go, flashing the lights once again. The Brazilian motto of get out of the way please, I'm in a hurry. I don't want to wait around behind you, matey boy. Oliveira there just really trying to get a good run out of these corners. And here comes the power of the turbocharged Nissan. Right behind the Dunlop rear wing of the BMW. Can he get a good run out there? It's a bit difficult place to do it though, Rob. It's not really the place you really want to be making the move, is it?
Well, that's true for sure. And they're coming pretty close to Döttinger Höhe now. Oh! Is he really going to try it here? Bit of contact there, but what a brave move. Dina not happy, but Nemček is gonna follow through.
He's done it. Oh, has he done it? Yes, he has. He's finally done it. Nemček, after about at least 45 minutes stuck behind that BMW's rear wing, he's finally done it. He's cracked it.
Just checking on Pache, and Pache's coming into the pits now.
So, where's he going to come out? He's not obviously he's not going to. If he's probably just going to top up with fuel, I imagine. That's 2 laps to go. Going to be. Can he just top up with fuel and just leave the pits and go to the end?
Well, it's going to be 2 more laps now, because Banki will cross the line with 8 minutes and 37 or so to go.
Yeah.
And they are lapping at 8:12 on their fastest lap, so probably around 8:16, 17 at the moment. Pache already back out of the pits. We jump to Pache in a moment. Just have to see a Nemček and Dina. Dina back ahead of Nemček now.
Nemček will say, what do I have to do to keep this guy behind me? I've just got past him and he's past him already. That's unbelievable stuff. But Dina there, getting that move done. But look at this. Oh, it looks like they're making a move for the pits.
They're both going into the pits.
This is Nemček's chance now. Can he get ahead of the BMW in the pit stops? What they're going to try and do.
Just checking with Pache here.
Pache's already left the pit.
Yeah, he just refueled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pache now rejoins. So can we? I wonder if he's battling the pit stops. It's probably going to be a pretty quick pit stop. Yeah, here they go back in their pit boxes now. They're both like behind each other. Look at that, in the same pit box as well. So let's see what these two are going to do. Are they just going to top up with fuel and go? Probably the smart thing to do at this stage. I don't think we're going to come out. So there's the BMW. He's gone out first. It looks like he's got the gap. Yeah, he's got the gap. Nemchek's slow to, or slower.
Nemchek refueled a lot more there.
Unnecessarily so, perhaps?
I think so. Maybe Dina still had a bit of fuel in his tank and Nemchek had absolutely nothing. It's possible, but they both dropped behind Hillebrand, who's back up to P5. And then we also saw a change in the GT4 category. Bart is back ahead of Gretschel for the second place.
Yes, so we come up to the closing stages of this race, and for Hildebrand in particular, I think that's well deserved because he had a great start. He led briefly as well, of course. You know, he's been fighting all the way through and get that P5. Really strong showing there from the German driver. And here's the leader of the Audis, Jan Courtois, in that P1.
Yeah, and he didn't pit. He is on the one-stop strategy.
Really nice stuff there. We just noticed actually it's only P24 cars, so I do believe.
Yeah, we lost Weiland. He had to disconnect.
Yeah, so that is unfortunate there for him. He's really good all day. But now down to 23 runners, as I think Mark Heinemann has also just left the game. No, he's just pitted. I do apologise. There he is on the circuit, leaving the pits as well. So 24 runners now on the track till the end of this race. We're in on about 9 or 10 cars. Been a really, really strong showing today from a lot of the drivers. Of bad luck for some others, but hey, there's always next time. You know, there's plenty more events coming up in RaceRoom, particularly this type of racing. Can be really, really good showing next time out. Actually, now 21 seconds the gap between him and Banky.
Oh, I think Dina disconnected. Oh,
yeah. Oh, that looks a bit weird, but I think you're absolutely right. Dina looks like he's had the same problem. Just confirm that. Looks like he's dropped back at least. There's
yeah, he's out of the race.
And he's out, so another disconnect there. So we're now down to 9 GT3 runners now. Courtois, as a result, is in the top 10. And then we got Huguet's in the pits. P14, yes he is. So that's a relief. He's going to be a race out of the pits between him and the other, his Hungarian compatriot, Gerald Schiefer. I think he's going to stay out ahead of his fellow countryman as well. There he goes, out, up, down his line. He's all going to be leaving the pits right now. They're down to 23 runners. Now with a lap or so now to go as well. But we're now watching Banky in his Mercedes looking really strong today. And we did say the Mercedes was looking good round here. You know, it's a good car to choose from. Of course, they've got 2 cars on the podium at the moment. You know, it's a really solid car. It's a good all-round car, as we discussed, Rob. And it's proven its worth today, and it's some good hands.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see Mercedes 1 too, because Ognoski is certainly faster than Pache at the moment. Remember, Pache did not change tires, just refueled, so now he has really old tires on his Alpina. And Ognoski has already gained like 3 seconds on him.
This will be interesting. Now we got Ognoski catch, of course, at the back of the KTM car ahead of him. Going to get the power down and pass him. Which side I'm going to go? There we go, on the left-hand side, he gets past KTM, and another lap on him. KTM's trying to catch up with Steph Kremers. Kremers now in P4. There's your Hardwick, Bart and Gretschel in the podium places for that particular class, GT4. GT3 got 6 runners. We've got Courtois, Kretsma and Castellios. That's the provisional podium there. All nicely spaced out as well, so not much chance of change there. And Banky, Parker and Ognoski, provisional podium in GT3.
I'm still not sure if Courtois can really make it until the end on his strategy here. Because I think he will also have to do 1 more lap after this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much how many laps the leaders do in GT3 will be the same amount of time as the other classes as well. I'm pretty sure it's 1 more lap here for Courtois as well. Back with the leader, Bence Banky. 29 seconds now. He's just pulled away, hasn't he? You know, he knows he's on fresher tyres than the Pack as well. He doesn't really need to push at all. He just needs to cruise at home now, pretty much here. With 2.5 laps, 2.5 minutes to go here. Another lap after this one. Nothing really happening too much on the track at the moment. I think the closest battle is between Ognoski and Parker. There is about 5.5 seconds between those two cars. Elsewhere on the circuit, not a huge amount going on.
Ognoski can see Pache. And that will be a long final lap for Patrick Pache.
And Packer's going to be counting down every single corner, isn't he? And if he wants one more corner, I don't have to do another corner done out of the way. Where's the next one? Ognoski's looking really, really quick.
It's interesting to see this race playing out like it did. Because Ognoski and Banki both have been on a pretty standard two-stop strategy here. Just splitting the length of their stints quite equally. And it was actually Oliveira and Pache who did the more risky strategy that some people thought would work to try to go as long as possible. It seems like at the end of the race, the more conventional strategy seems to be a little bit quicker over the race distance.
Yeah, we thought it, the two-stop would be the more sensible approach to take, but for those who take the track, trying the one-stop, absolutely worth trying. You know, you don't know what's going to happen here around a circuit like this. Also, the pit stops are pretty long, so always difficult for him to manage. But it looks like Ognoski now has really put the hammer down on those fresher tyres. Of course, they put the magnets on the back of that Alpina ahead of him. The Alpina looking pretty wide out of there, and but the power of the BMW will be the defence of use that Packer will use. Just passing now, the car ahead looks like
trainers.
Yep. Does a good job there of getting out of the way, but also for Ognoski got a great slipstream there, and might want to nick the slipstream now on the back of the Alpina ahead as well. Not really closing up too much though, is the Canadian, but he's going to be feeling pretty confident when we get to his last lap now. As the Banky would have just started the last lap.
And Banki already on a Grand Prix circuit. And I think this is an impossible task for Pache to keep Ognoski behind him here.
There we go, that would be the checkered flag, would be up next time around. So, just got to watch out, but here comes the move from Ognoski. He gets that move pretty much started. Almost a little bit of contact there, but Ognoski was brave on that fresh rubber now. I think that's Ognoski now will be seeing that P2 position now on the podium. Another man you got to watch out for as well is Oliveira. He's only 10 seconds back.
Yeah, it could work for him.
I don't think Oliveira, I can't remember if he took tyres or not. I think he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. It depends how worn those tyres on the Alpina is, but say if Oliveira wants to get on that podium, he has to get on with it now, because Paco will know the task ahead of him.
Let's see with Courtois. This will decide who will win in the Audi category. Is he going to pit or not? He lost a lot of time compared to Kretschmer on the last lap.
13 seconds the gap. All depends if he's got fuel or not. He's got to go for it, really. If he's got the fuel for it, he's got to. He's going to lose too much time otherwise. See if Courtois is going to go for it. The cap now. About 15
yeah, he's coming
now.
in.
He's going to pit. He's going to pit. He probably didn't strategize that enough, or maybe just ran out of fuel.
Maybe he just hoped that the GT3s would be a little bit slower.
One lap too much for Courtois. It looks like the Kretschmer's going to retake the lead here on this final lap. There he goes across the line. This looks like to be a comfortable victory, because Stelianos is 32 seconds behind Courtois. Oh, looks like
Courtois already going again.
He's going again, yeah.
And I think something happened to Oliveira.
Yes, he has, yeah, because he's 22 seconds back. So he's had a sprint around the circuit. That means now for Parker, this will be comfortable now. It's a 22-23 second gap. Shouldn't be too much problems there at all. Looking in the Audi class, looks like not too much going on there regarding battlings. Obviously, Courtois rejoined. And in GT4, a 64 second gap between Hardwick and Bart.
Oh, look at Hardwick's car. That's big damage.
here. Oh yeah, he's completely lost the front of the car. So a damaged car for Hardwick. He hasn't got a punch, I don't think, but he's definitely whacked him very, very hard. There's Oscar Hardwick. I think he's going to get away with it. But as I say, he's going to be losing a lot of time between now and the end. But he's got a big 66-second gap. Not too much battling going on in that Class E, you know. It's pretty much a drive to the line now. But I think Parker now 3 seconds behind Ognoski's the closest battle. But we know that Ognoski's got the tyres over Parker as well. But Banky now just lapping through the last of the back markers. It's a little bit wide there actually as well.
And Ben Spanky on his final meters here. After a stunning race, he started from quite far oversteer. He started quite far back actually in the race. He's still pushing pretty hard. I'm not sure why he's doing that. And yeah, in the race he just caught up with the battling front when Hildebrand was holding up everyone a little bit in the beginning of the race. Hildebrand, of course, fighting really, really tough. And then it was Bunky who made it stick in a nice 3-wide maneuver with Ortner and Hildebrand into the first corner, took the lead and never really looked back.
Yeah, it's taking the opportunities, and that's what Banky's done all day. He's been really, really good. So has Ognoski as well. A good fighter on track, you know. He's aggressive, but he's clean with it as well. Never too much contact be used as well. So it's just taking those opportunities when you can. He's looking really good around here as well. It really suits the circuit, so very strong around here. Here's P3, Patrick Parker. The Alpino again, a good weapon around here as well, and he's made the most of it as Parker there. P3. Here comes Vinny Oliveira, still trying to close in that gap, but he's made that mistake. The gap's on 20 seconds. P5, Nicholas Hildebrand there as well, and the Porsche's been fighting all day long. It's the first time probably he's had some clean air around him and behind him, but he's looking very strong here today, and well-deserved P5 from P11 on the grid. David Nemchek there in the Corvette. Got held up for a long time, but P6 will be the order of the day here for him. He's looking okay, good today. Jorge Ortner in P7, you know, had the damage at the was one of the first ones to have damage. Fought well to get ahead of Stefan Kostabek in P8 in that older style Corvette. Great drive for actually moving that, to be fair, because that's a bit of a boat at the best of times. But there we go, he's in P8. US Rider recovering damage. He's the last of the GT3 runners. You can be finishing in P9 as it stands. There we got the leader of the Audi class, Daniel Kretzmer, in P10 overall, and to be leading his class home. He's 17 seconds ahead of Yann Courtois, who just recently pitted for fuel. Calculation there from him. Yami Castellos in P3 can be rounding out the podium there. Again, solid drive from him, no real controversy at all. Gabriel Schiffer, P4, the first Hungarian drivers, with his countryman Attila Huschek in P14 and 5th in class. And the last of the Audi runners, Daniel Hummel, in P15 and 6th in class. Oscar Hardwick looks like he's taken his very, very beaten up Lotus in P1 in his class. It's been very comfortable really for him.
Just checking with Bunky quickly so we don't miss him finishing the race, but there's still a bit of time so we can go through the GT4s.
We got Patrick Barth there in P2 in class. It's been really decent today, but he's going to be ahead of Dirk Gretschel. He's 27 seconds back. Behind him, Steph Kremers, who was looking very likely for a podium actually in his Cayman, but had an incident with the KTM of Marco Platscher. But those two looking promising today. I quite like the performance of Marco. You know, he's been a bit unfortunate, but you know, for that KTM to be up there, really solid stuff from him. Tony Becker's there. He's been mixing it a bit. Unfortunately, get P6 in his class, but it's just to finish in these races really, really good. Domenico the Barber P7 in his class in the other Cayman, and Mark Heinemann will be the last of the finishers in P23 and 8th in his class. I think it's probably time now, because there's no real battles on the circuit, to go to Bence Banky here. And Rob, it's been a stunning drive, hasn't it, from the back of the grid?
Yes, Bence Banky Flawless performance once again. We thought we might see a new winner. It's actually the only guy who's won races before who's going to take the win again. And there you can see Oscar Hartwig just letting him go. He doesn't want to do another lap in his beaten up car. Just a lot of time compared to Patrick Bart. The gap is down to 30 seconds only. And Ben Spunky going to cross the line first. Driver for Oscar Esports by SDL. Takes the victory here. Congratulations to him. Winner of the Nürburgring 2.4 hours in the GT3 category.
Really, really strong effort today from Ben Spanky. Probably the favourite in a lot of people's eyes to win today. Oscar Hardwick there taking the class honours in GT4. You know, again, probably one of the favourites to win in that class as well.
Kretschmer still has some time to go, so the next one to cross the line should be Austin Ognoski. Nice performance from the Canadian, P2 in the end.
Nice job from him. Hopefully we'll see more of him in events in the future, because he's this is his first competitive race actually today, and you get P2. He looks like a certain race winner in the future. Here comes Patrick Pash across the line to complete the podium.
Patrick Bart actually takes second place in the GT4 category, just crosses the line ahead of Patrick Pache. So Pache in third in the GT3s, and fourth place goes to Vinny Oliveira. Couple of accidents in the race. Could have been maybe a little bit more. P4 in the end. Ahead of the guy who provided the most entertainment in the race, Nicolas Hillebrand, in the Porsche. As I think that's Gretschel who crossed the line there just in front of him as well. Hillebrand
Yes.
P5 in GT3, and Gretschel there he is. Podium finish in the GT4 category. Congratulations to him.
And we're just going to go back now to the Audi class, Daniel Kretschmer. And you know, look good all day. Probably not favourite in a lot of people's eyes. You know, he's been running at front last bit, because Courtois was running at front for a while, and then before that we had the others as well. But here comes Nemchek actually in his Corvette to take P6 as well. Bit of a frustrating race for him, really. You know, he's been at the sharp end without looking spectacular, but a solid drive nonetheless from Nemchek. And here he comes across the line to take that P6. Oh, there's quite a way.
I think Kramer's already crossed the line there as well. P4 in the GTR4 category. Must have Kramer's. Let's see if that helps him finding a team. See it there on his name. Mirko Plachter, next one over the line in the GTR4 category. Congratulations to him. And that's Georg Ortner who finishes now in P7. Could have been a lot more because he was fighting for the victory, of course, in the beginning, but then had an accident. P7 ahead of Kosovac in P8.
Yeah, I'm probably going to see as the Audi's still coming around for the last time here, and Daniel Kretschmer going to take the victory in his green Audi here, and a really nice performance here from him to take the checkered flag and win his class. Very nicely done there, and take his first ever RaceRoom main event victory here today. Jonas Rinkel there taking P9, and the last of GT3 finishes.
Yeah, I think we missed Tony Beckers. He's already crossed the line as well. Congratulations to him. And Jan Courtois, second in class in the Audis. Very close to the victory, but then he had to pit again, the SDL Esports driver. 11th overall. And there's Jaime Castellanos, who's rounding out the podium in the Audis.
Really nice job from him. Again, he's one of these today who's looked solid yet unspectacular, but taken the been very consistent and looked very, very good all day long. So really nice effort from him. Here comes the Barber in P22.
Just checking with Chifra. Oh, Chifra fighting with his car there on the last lap, so I think La Barba should be the next one to cross the line.
Nicholas Hildebrand, I've just read in the YouTube chat, man, that this was intense, you know.
Yeah, we could tell from the outside.
All day, hasn't he?
So Domenico La Barba, a couple of accidents in the race, but I think he will be very happy to finish it and to finish ahead of Mark Heinemann in this race. P22 overall, 7th in class. As he crosses the line. And now we've got only 4 more cars running. As Chifra, let's see where Heinemann is. A bit further ahead. So all of the GT4s will actually cross the line ahead of the Audis. hope that there's enough time on the server left that they can all finish.
Yeah, it'd be all just nice for these guys to just take the checker flag. You know, it's good for spirits. You know, just to make sure you do cross. Obviously, the server has behaved itself regarding that as well. So, yeah, in qualifying, so hopefully we let all the cars cross the line with pride. You know, in that. The long old race, the chance is particularly 2.4 hours for anybody. You know, it's still a long old stint. Obviously, you get people you do endurance races who do 4-hour, 5-hour stints, but you know, it's still a long time in a car.
It's also a bit more intense on a Nordschleife.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it at Le Mans, so I mean, yeah, okay, you have long straights to relax. Here you've got pretty much 7 minutes of full action in the beginning of the circuit. Heinemann crossed the line, P8 in the class, finishes the race, and next one should be Gabor Cifra. There he is. In the Audi. Actually 4th in class, so very close to a podium. Despite a little bit of damage. Only 2 more runners still on the track. Attila Hukjaks, he's the next one, the other Hungarian in the black and blue car. Running in P5.
And respectable stuff indeed. And for those who are watching the end of this, you know, we still got 98 viewers in the YouTube watching this. Thank you for tuning in to watching this race. It has been an absolute pleasure, you know, meeting some new names for me and meeting some new drivers on the track and doing this broadcast today. It's been fantastic. But here comes Attila, who actually finishes by coming into the pit lane. Finishes the race.
Interesting choice. Daniel Hummel still going with the front half of his car looking a little bit beaten up. Yeah, if you like these types of racing broadcasts, make sure to subscribe to RaceRoom either on YouTube or on Twitch. We're streaming everything both on YouTube and Twitch, because we've got a lot of racing action coming up, as I mentioned before. Super Racer is coming up, Esports WTCR, and a couple more special events. If you want to drive in the next one, make sure to go onto RaceRoom, game.raceroom.com/competitions, or just click on competitions in the game, and there you will always find the next official races that are coming up. Or make sure to create an account on the forum of Sector 3 Studios. There you can find a lot of community leagues and championships providing info about the next races. As Daniel Hummel is the last of the finishers, crossing the line. And there we go, there we've got the official results. Banki wins, fastest lap as well. Podium GT3, Banki Ugnovski-Pache. Podium in the Audis, Kretschmer, Courtois and Castellanos. Whereas Hukjaks has actually gotten a penalty there. Counted behind Hummel in the end. Maybe he had a drive-through, speeding in the pit lane, couldn't take it. Maybe that's why he went into the pits.
Yeah.
And in the GT4s, Oscar Hardwick wins the race. In the end, only 36 seconds ahead of Patrick Bart and Dirk Retschel. DNFs in the race: Dina, Weiland, Libby, Barriere, Jünger, Lisaso, Mosca, Rick Hase, Darius Vilgosh, and Thomas Pache. And I think we lost Mate Missofi as well very early on this race.
We did indeed. And that's all the runners and riders, and that has been the Nürburgring 2.4 hours here at RaceRoom. So I'm not sure, Rob, if there's anything else you want to mention before the stream. I just want to say congratulations to all the runners and drivers today, and for finishing, and for those who didn't manage to finish, bad luck, but there's always next time. You know, but is there anything else you want to add to that, Rob?
Actually not. I would just like to finish it up here, say thanks to you, and for everyone in the chat, stay tuned. Tune in next time. Bye bye.
KW, für jeden Anspruch das richtige Fahrwerk.